Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good afternoon, and hello, kids and cubs, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number 779 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Always 100% Canadian. Yeah, my hair is a mess. I was wearing a shirt, but when I got in front of the camera, looked like it was creating like an optical illusion because they had smaller checks that were really close together, and it would make people a little dizzy. So I changed quickly, and then when I changed quickly, I of course ruined my do, as is wont to happen. So there you go. And the entire time the credits have been running, I've been trying to do the wrist, the buttons at the wrist, so that when I lift my hands to talk or whatnot, right, it looks like I dressed properly, and I can't get them through the holes for the sake to save my life today. They just will not cooperate. So yeah, I am having some wardrobe malfunctions today, but nonetheless, we persist. Okay, I finally got one done. So yes, season 5 and episode 779 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show, and technically not so much Daily Beaver Morning Show because we are indeed in the afternoon because we are about to read the budget today, and that usually happens around 4 o'clock. So an afternoon special today. Hopefully, we'll have some DamFam members that we don't usually get to see in the morning. Apologies, of course. Deep felt, sincere, heartfelt apologies to Kits and Cubs who showed up for an episode this morning and did not find one. I had mentioned on yesterday's show that I would attempt to get a show out this morning, but it would have to be a pre-record because I was going in and out of town very quickly for a concert, and I did not have time to do another show. So I tried to post as early as I can the link to this morning's show with the note that there wouldn't be one, and also I believe put a message on our Twitter feed. So hopefully most people got it, and for those who didn't, I apologize for you having shown up for nothing. But hopefully you are here today and now, and if you're not able to be here now, that you will see this later. And I am. I did it. I did the best I could. All right, and of course, nothing personal. Right, no hard feelings. Nothing personal like this. It's it's a valid point. Mea culpa. Uh, so, but I am. If I'm going to ask how your mental health is doing today, I am in some very lovely post-concert bliss. I had such a good time. So I went to see Sophie Ellis Bextor. She's maybe not very well known. It depends what type of music you listen to. But again, Murder on the Dance Floor is her big hit, and was popular again last summer. Was popular about 20 years ago, I think, and then was put into a movie, and then everybody found it and became a big international hit again. But she's on her eighth album now, so she's been around for a while, and I think it was only her second time ever in Toronto. So I went down and I went to see her, and it's just basically a big old disco party. A great amount of fun. Um, you know, and she's a delight. She talks to you go see certain bands, and some bands only say like "Good evening, how's it going?" or "Good night, Pasadena," and then and that's about it, right? But she actually like stops between songs and actually talks to the audience and whatnot. So, and she's just utterly delightful. And the concert ended in a really interesting way. She did her encore, and then there was some music playing. And while the music was playing, she actually came out up into the balcony where we were sitting. And she actually, the entrance of the balcony was right next to where I was sitting. So she passed within like feet of me. It was like, ah, both on the way in and the way out. And then she went to the front of the balcony and did one last acoustic number there. And so that was it was just a beautiful touch. So yeah, great concert, great music. Everybody was dancing in their seats. Everybody there for a good time. Uh, Nobody was ill-tempered. Everybody was there to dance. A lot of people dressed in the sequins and all that good stuff. And we just uh, we just boogied down. We just boogied down. It was a lot of fun. And then, of course, on a 6 something a.m. train back from Toronto this morning in order to be able to get here on time to do this for you. Uh, Bit of a short night because when you have post concert bliss, you have a little bit of an adrenaline high. So I didn't get to bed till right away. But um, yep, a nice treat. And to ensure that the thing from Hamilton did not happen on the way there, there's a place here in Kingston where they have some Cobb salads that you can grab to go. So I picked one of those up and made sure I ate that mid-afternoon. It's sort of like we're going to be sure that there's going to be no allergic reaction before the concert. So yeah, everything went smoothly. Everything went well. Uh, and I'm a very happy beaver. Um, yeah. So there you go. All right. Big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Mystique Mysteries from Corporate Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca, doing everything out of order today, but that's all right, so long as you get everything in, right? Ah, well, DamFam, it's budget day, the day we all been waiting for, right? We haven't had an actual budget for a while. This is the beginning. Sorry, I have to. I've gotten the note that I need to speak a little louder, so I had just forgotten that. So if anybody's listening to this on the podcast and you hear a difference in volume, that's me remembering I have to speak louder. So let's try that. That might be better because I know some of you have said you have a hard time hearing me, and I have to really think about that. Okay, because I'm very naturally soft spoken. Okay, so like I said, budget day, and we how would I put it? The word coming out of the budget here from the government. We heard, I think it was the Minister of Finance, yes, François Philippe Champagne, I think yesterday or the day before, basically saying there will be no surprises. So if everybody is waiting like for some, uh, there's one or two things that they hold back and they make a big announcement. No, there's lots that's been announced already that we know about. And when you add all those things up, and there might be additional details on things, and maybe there'll be additional funding programs and stuff, and some announcements of things that will be cut and things of the like. But there's not going to be a surprise tax cut or surprise um, uh, new infrastructure project out of the blue that nobody's heard anything about yet or anything. No, um, no sudden reversal on the promise to cut transfers to provinces on healthcare or something like that. So no surprises are to be expected. Um, so, which is good for people who are worrying, but there's still everything around the budget and um, lots of questions being asked from various sectors. So for example, um, what's the overall number going to be with regard to the deficit? And based on what I'm hearing, there seems to be a line at around 75 billion where there's a lot of people that are stopping at that amount or before, and then there's a couple of other people who've been doing some math and putting out their speculation and claiming it could be greater than 75 to 90 or something. So that's sort of one of the lines what people are looking for. Will it be between 75 and 90? Uh, Lower or greater than 75, I should say. There was a little bit of speculation whether or not it would hit the 100 at some point. Uh, Consensus seems to have emerged that uh, if they wanted to get to 100 or something, they would like stop at 99 just to say that they were not going to go into triple digits. There's a communications barrier that kind of gets hit there. So I would say that probably not that, but that's going to be a number. Of course, when that happens, we're going to have the opposition, at least from the conservative side, wanting to just care about that number and nothing else. Of course, the government for the first time is going to present two numbers. Now, the final number is the one that does matter, indeed, but the composition of that number also matters, right? So being able to lay out the capital spending and the operational spending definitely makes it such that you can see where additional spending is going to go. And then you can make calculations of what return on investment one can expect to get from that spending. So that is going to be happening. People are going to be looking at that as well. So people are going to be looking when we're looking in this category, what goes in to capital spending and what goes into operational spending, and there seems to be an opportunity. Um, the government seems to be leaving an open flank to be vulnerable there because it seems they are being rather generous with what would constitute capital spending based on how they would be looked upon, I guess, in general accounting. Um, so we might be needing a clear explanation for why that category is broader than some would expect. Um, Hopefully that will be in the budget text because that does create an opening for attack, especially when conservatives like to accuse everybody of doing voodoo accounting, I believe is the word that they use. So if you are straying from those bounds, you have to say something. Like, for example, and I don't know if this holds because finance at this level is starting to get a little bit beyond my pay grade here. But for example, if tax credits given to attract foreign capital to allow that capital project to go forward gets categorized in the capital expenses because it's expenses we are incurring in order to make those capital shifts, even though that expense itself doesn't actually buy any capital. You can make a case for that when you're considering yourself as a government versus a business that has a very, very, very long timeline, right? Uh, People keep on saying run operation like a business, and it's like you can't really run government like a business, and you can't really do that. There's lots of principles from business you can bring into government and apply, but you can't exactly run it that way, right? Timelines and missions and mandates are different. and your ability to take on debt is different as well. So that is something that might be um, a point there. We would want some clarity on that. It's something that I will definitely be looking for with regard to that. Um, this change, having the budget in November, is going to become a permanent change, joining a lot of other nations in the world who tend to do it this way. With having normally we had budgets in April and then a fall economic statement. Now it looks like it's going to be budgets in November and then spring economic statements. This might have an advantage for the provinces who are not being requested to change their schedules to match the federal government's. So now, when they plan their provincial and territorial budgets, they will know what the federal government commitments are, you know, 6 months, 5, 6 months in advance, rather than closer to the dates or waiting for the federal budget to come out to then all release theirs, a week or two later. And now that they know what they're getting, which might make for a, a more thorough, better products from the provincial level, and because they do them with placeholders expecting something to be announced, but they have to wait for it to be finalized, right? Because one, they can't scoop, and then they don't want to announce that they've received an amount of money that they didn't get and then have to go back and clean it up, right? So you wait. So it doesn't take them that much time to do it, but because they have placeholders there, but they're still waiting, and there could be last minute surprises and things of the like that causes um, some um, white knights making revisions. As a former communications government PR strategist, don't ask me how I know that. God. I loved the job, kids and cubs, but I had no life. I had no life. So I had to get off that hamster wheel. Um, all right. So these are some of the things we're looking for. We're also looking for in that capital spending more precise details if possible. And all of this is with a view for financial wow, I can't get that word out today. Financial analysts to be able to go out and do their quick calculations so that over the next 2 or 3 days, they can give their assessment of what the budget is and how it's going to help. If it's going to help, what impact it's going to have. You know, um, does it have the stuff required to match the federal government's stated ambitions? And give all those assessments. And word on the tweet seems to be that overall, the market is anticipating what is going to be tabled with a rather positive lens. Um, I'm not going to say necessarily overjoyed, but a positive lens. I was listening to something today that was indicating that um, the sense from the financial sector is that the government finally gets it in terms of the way that these things need to be planned. Um, so it's good to go into this exercise with financial markets pre-budget, you know, kind of sending the message out or saying that, they have the feeling that up until now, what they've been seeing is rather positive. But again, you have to wait until the final product because devil is in the details, of course. Um, Gonna take a look here at my notes and see if there's anything else I wanted to mention before showing you a clip or two here. Um, yes. Um, Another thing I was listening to, there's some points that I've been listening to people make uh, that are true all along, and you know we kind of know them, but um, sometimes when they're said out loud again, it's sort of like, oh yeah, that is true, right? Um, I hadn't thought about that in a while, but that is something that's underpinning things. And I think it was uh, Bill Kelly, if I'm not mistaken, journalist Bill Kelly, who was mentioning that when Mark Carney was the governor of the Bank of Canada, he actually chastised Canadian businesses for sitting on pools of money that they were not reinvesting in the Canadian economy in order to boost productivity. Because again, we've been having this big productivity problem. We keep on hearing it about all the time. So it is very possible that now that he's in this position, there will be some changes made to the business tax code in order to incentivize unlocking some of that money. Um, and here I have a clip that was on Power and Politics. I'm going to guess this was yesterday's show. They had an interview with someone from Desjardins Bank, and it was some pretty interesting comments. Um, And it's really good to hear bank sector because, again, if you're listening to Pierre Poilievre's, right, we are on the verge of doom, right? This is going to be, as soon as this budget is out, the bank is going to start printing money, inflation is going to start spiraling, and it's just going to be the end of everything, right? Pierre has no financial background, really, here. Um, so in these particular cases, you want to hear from people who know. Now, the situation, as you know, Kids and Cubs, has been recently complexified by the fact that the current interim parliamentary budget officer came out and made a statement. Um, oh God, it was an S word, and I cannot remember off the top of my word now, the top of my head, what word it was that he used to describe the spending. And that created some consternation among former parliamentary budget officers, including Kevin Page, the first one, who was quite suggesting that Mr. Jakes might or Jacques might want to retract some of those comments, and even had the interim parliamentary, not the interim, sorry, even had the International Monetary Fund saying that Canada and Germany have far more wiggle room than many countries. They I'm not sure if they felt compelled to make that statement at some point as a result of that, or just rather in their own analysis. That was just stated outright. But even the International Monetary Fund does not seem to agree with the interim parliamentary budget officer. But because that was said by him, that has given the conservatives a little extra fuel for what it is that they were trying to do with their own narrative. So here, as I mentioned before, it is senior economist Randall Bartlett from the Desjardins Group, and he is speaking here about. Check my notes here. Um, those types of changes that could be made to the tax code that they might be expecting to see in order to be able to achieve the ends of building faster and, as the Prime Minister likes to say, building stronger. So let's see what we got here.
Term and giving a short-term sugar high, that's really what we're going to be looking for in this budget.
Okay, when you talk about tax cuts as a possibility, and we do expect there to be some incentives in this budget to try to drive capital investment, do you want to see things like investment tax credits and capital cost allowance? Is it more targeted and incentive-driven over, say, an across-the-board, say, corporate tax cut?
You know, I think the environment that we're in right now is very different than we were a year ago, even when it comes to tax policies. So we look at what the Americans have done and allowing for essentially immediate depreciation of capital assets. That's supporting a boon in investment there around things like data centers. And so Canada, has to have a somewhat competitive tax policy to attract investment from around the world. And I think we're going to see some of that in the budget tomorrow. We don't have a lot of details, but we do know that there are going to be changes to corporate income tax policy around around pulling in more investment. We saw that the federal government rolled back the increase in the capital gains inclusion rate for individuals and corporations. And a big part of the motivation for that is that capital taxes ultimately have the largest impact on long-term economic growth and output. And so we've already seen a reorientation away from capital taxes and taxes on investment in Canada, and we're expecting to see more of that in the budget tomorrow to keep up with the neighbors to the south, but also make sure that we're an attractive destination for capital investment.
All right. So that's some of the things that you might be looking for in the budget measures in order to increase or encourage capital investment to come to Canada via changes to the tax code in order to be able to ensure that we can, as we mentioned, build at those speeds that we are seeking to build. And now I do not know where my notes have gone. They've just completely vanished from the screen. But that's okay. We will just bring them right back up. No problem. Only solutions. Only solutions. Okay. Here are the notes again. All right. So that's the first thing. The other thing that we're looking at here is with regard to the deficit, as we mentioned before. And the reason the dividing of the budget into capital and operational costs is being positively viewed by the business community. Um, Again, conservatives are going to try to make some attacks of attempting to fudge the books or whatnot like this, or that to try to diminish the capital number by saying at the end of the day, it's all debt. Right? Uh, at some point, somebody's going to have to start asking the conservatives what it is that they wouldn't spend on. I actually remember there was an interview with, I think it was, it was Rosemary Barton on the House with Pierre Poilievre, and she was asking about these types of things, and he was criticizing Prime Minister Mark Carney, and Rosie Barton pointed out that, well, it whatever the conservatives looked like they were going to propose would have failed too, because nobody has been able to make the deal. And Pierre, rather than acknowledging that reality that it's tough, basically just said like, well, I guess we'll never know, will we? Because we weren't elected, right? And it's like, yeah, we do know. Yeah, we do know. Because out of all these world leaders, if there were one out there that was recognized as having even greater skills at this type of stuff than Mark Carney does going into it, and had been able to achieve that type of deal, and we didn't, okay, maybe he would have some ground to stake here. But nobody on the planet has managed to do it. And considering Pierre knows very well he has fewer skills and lesser experience, there's no reality in which he has some secret magic trick up his sleeve that would have made him the only person on the entire planet, especially with no financial background, to be able to come to a deal. He's like, yes, yes, Pierre, we do know. Right? So we are at this point have to point out repeatedly, and the government will need to do this in the communication efforts as this is going on, that there are different kinds of debt out there, right? And there's good debt, there's bad debt, and just as there's good debt and bad debt, there is good and bad stimulus. So if we are in a situation where we might be going into a recession based on everything that's going on, usually when there is a recession, the government comes in and provides some stimulus. Now, what was being cautious when it announced its last interest rate cut about future rate cuts. One of the things they want to see is what's in the budget and how much stimulus will be created by the money that the federal government is going to be spending. The thing is that when we had the crash in 2008, the government also came in with a lot of stimulus spending, right? The Economic Action Plan, the signs were everywhere. We all remember them. Well, for those of us who were of age to remember that at the time. But a lot of that money, right, was the grooming snowmobile trails. Some things were fixing arenas and, they were small things. But they dispersed all that money all over in small little small little drops here or there, rather than taking all of that money and putting it into one big capital project or infrastructure project that would be income generating. So it was money that was put into the economy. It circulated. It had the multiplier effect needed, but it wasn't money that was put into things. They made certain communities stronger, right? I mean, if you fix your local community center or the hockey arena and all that kind of stuff, and then you get more use, yes, absolutely. But it wasn't on the grand scale. So what type of spending one is making here matters. So that's another thing that they're going to be looking at. Is it empty calorie stimulus? A bit Harper style? A little bit for this here, a little bit for this here, a little bit here for this here, and that's money circulating in the little local economies, and that's good. Or is it a more substantive meal? A port, which if you expand it, then you expand the capacity, and then how much business can be done from there expands, and then those have other benefits. So it's, what do you want to spend your $50 billion on? Right, a combination of tax cuts and community infrastructure or up-to-date programs, or do you want to put money into a sector or into a project that is larger, that is bigger, that will take more time, that is more intensive, but that is going to yield huge return on investment for years and years and years to come, even decades. So they're going to be looking at at that type of spending as well. There is another gentleman from the world of finance. I believe, let me just make sure I got his name correctly. I actually do not have his name. I forgot to note it. But he is talking here about the state of the deficit at the moment in this little passage here. As we mentioned, the IMF stated that Canada and Germany in particular, I believe we both have AAA credit ratings. And our financial position going into this situation is better than that of many other nations. So we do have more wiggle room. So we have right here, and let's see what this gentleman has to say. And hopefully we will get his name and credentials when we see the thing, because I forgot to note.
Thing is that there has been a lot of talk about the deficit. Going into this this budget, Mark Carney campaigned on a deficit a little higher than what we would have seen under Justin Trudeau, but still not significantly higher than that original $42 billion or so. The tariff situation changes that entirely, and now economists like Sahir Khan, who we just heard from, are saying that number could be anywhere between 70 and even over $90 billion, but they warn that's not necessarily putting Canada in a terrible position. Have a listen.
From our early assessment at the IFSD, there's probably a little bit of room to do that. It doesn't leave a lot of room for successive governments, and that's, I think, one of the challenges. So I think if you're in that 75 to 90, you're probably okay. It doesn't leave a lot of room for a crisis in the future or for subsequent governments, and it really has to focus on capital and on investment. Otherwise, we're not going to get the pop that we really need for every dollar.
So there you go. That's Sahir Khan, a former assistant parliamentary budget officer making that comment again, wanting to make it clear that the type of spending really, really matters here. So those are some of the details. You're going to get your hot take from the political parties, and you already pretty much know what they're going to be. I saw a tweet the other day, somebody saying, "I predict that Pierre Poilievre is going to see the budget and is going to say it stinks." I'm like, wow, you really went out on a limb there, did you? All right. Um, so uh, the other thing when it comes to that, kids and cubs, the prime minister has been making the case for that type of spending as well recently in speeches. He's mentioning, in particular, the St. Lawrence Seaway. What he did was talk about the time that we were building it, what it cost at the time, what that translates to in today's dollars, and what we've gotten in return since we did that. And he's stating basically that these projects that he's looking at are projects that would be similar in that type of nature. So it looks like a big bill. Yes, it does, and it's a lot of money that's going to go into it. Yeah, that's true. But if you give it time, it becomes very, very clear and apparent that this was a good deal. In their communications, which they're hit or miss in the sense, how would I put it? Carney's communications are consistent if you're following through time, but they are not frequent enough. There are gaps at certain times where they're working on stuff and he's coming back with updates and results or whatnot, but there are times in between that where it needs to be filled, and there needs to be there's the overall clear narrative in terms of changing our direction, but it's appealing to political geeks like me, of course, but all those I don't want to say he needs a Pierre Poilievre slogan, right? But there's, spend less to invest more makes sense for me because I understand that. But if you're not going into all that details, it really does come across as initially counterintuitive, right? And so for the whole entire audience that Pierre Poilievre is trying to gaslight in particular, this is important. So how would I put it? I would like to see more and more consistent and more not flooding the zone, but occupying the space in the zone more consistently with regard to this, and then having different types of messaging for different types of groups, at different levels with different language, because it is very academic and boardroom like, which again, political geek like me, love it. But there are some limitations to how that goes over, and that's not saying that Canadians are too dumb to understand. Because you have to give a lot of credit to the Canadian voter overall here. They're a lot smarter than a lot of people give them credit for, but it's work. It's work to get the message, to take all of those concepts and then bring it down, for you to bring it down to a level and to a language yourself. I guess a little extra help along the way would be there. Anything that creates noise, everything that creates extra work creates noise, and you don't want to have that. So, in that sense, ooh, we have some company. Hello, sir.
Good day, sir. How you doing?
Very well. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I saw you were live, so I figured, what the hell, I'd hop in for a little bit.
Yeah. Just
Just got
doing.
back from a walk with Lola, so
Okay. Yeah. Just doing some pre-budget watch party type stuff. Going into it. You okay?
yeah, that was just my phone. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah. Since you're here, you got any thoughts, any expectations, any concerns, any?
Concerns, I have a few. Well, I'm worried about people in this city who may find that they're suddenly going to be out of a job.
Hmm.
And that's really my biggest concern. Honestly, how the rest of it goes, I don't know. It's going to be a building budget, I understand, like something we've not seen in a long time. I'm told from
Mhm.
rumors, if rumors are true. I am worried about people in this city, though, who may find themselves out of a job, though. So that's the thing I'm concerned about, because there's a lot of people I know who may suddenly find themselves unemployed. Now, yes, sure, they'll get a good package, and still, I know what it's like to lose your job at my age, and
Mm.
now there will be people who, if you're my age or a little bit older, they'll probably just give them the golden handshake or the golden parachute, I guess, because they would give them give them an early retirement package, uh, which is this is not new. I mean, they did this in the Air Force back in the Canadian Armed Forces back in the mid '90s. My father had a similar package at the time, so this is not unheard of, but it's concerning because of the incredibly difficult economic times that we find ourselves in right now, globally speaking, when it comes to trade. With what's going on with the orange lunatics south of the border, you know, it's going to be an anxious day.
Yeah, indeed. You got here just in time because I was about to show the kits a piece of communications coming from the Prime Minister that think is particularly effective here.
Okay.
And in this clip, pay attention when he's talking to the St. Lawrence, talking about the St. Lawrence Seaway, and when he's given the data, because this, I'm going to guess, in future, if he's communicating this, if Pierre Poilievre is going to keep on talking about the deficit, right? Oh my God, it's so terrible. Mark Carney has to be talking. Um, this project, we're putting this much money in. 20 years from now, it should generate this much revenue, and then give us a running total on that.
Right.
Right. So he kind of does this. He says, the concept that he's been saying before. We've built things before.
Mhm.
We can do it again. Right. Take the St. Lawrence Seaway, for example. We spent this much. That translates to this into today's dollars. Look how much economic activity it's generated since then.
Mhm.
Need to do more of that. The money that I'm spending on that Pierre Poilievre is complaining about, he's spending on that. I'm spending that on that, and hopefully that will cause media to start asking Pierre the question: well, what is it that he is spending on which you would not spend? I guess. And
Yeah.
if you would not spend this money, how would you reorient the Canadian economy?
Well, and let's consider that for a second. The St. Lawrence Seaway project was a massive civil engineering
Mhm.
undertaking. It cost I don't even know what it cost
We're
if
gonna
you
find out.
translated it to today's dollars, billions.
Mhm.
They moved a couple of towns actually on both sides of the border because there was a lot of flooding that took place when it was built.
Oh.
The Queen was there for the opening of it. I know because I've been to the visitor center in Cornwall. There's a museum there that explains how they built it, what it does, the purpose of it, how they built several hydro stations along the way to generate power as well. It's pretty cool. I've done a lot of work. In the past, I did a lot of work at the visitor center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I forget it's called the visitor center, but it's the visitor center of the. I just can't. Not the St. Lawrence Seaway project, but it's the sea. I can't remember. It's a really cool spot. If you're ever in Cornwall, I'd say go check it out. And it's a cool venue because they have all kinds of meeting space there, and yeah, it's really interesting. But as you were saying, if he's going to invest in projects of that magnitude and of that nature, and Pierre Poilievre is saying we can't have any deficit spending, it's like, dude. You do realize that the St. Lawrence Seaway has long since paid for itself several hundred times over.
Right. I think here I have the Saunders Hydro Dam Visitor Center,
That might be it.
or it used to be called the Cornwall Seaway Visitor Center.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at this clip, and I don't know if you've seen it yet,
Hmm.
but it did get a lot of buzz. So, oops,
No.
let's change that because I forgot to turn the volume on the clip up. Okay, there we go. Now
that
we have the
happens.
volume.
It's our country. It's your
Canada strong. Where have I heard that before?
Where have you heard that before?
Oh, I don't know. Elbows up, Canada strong.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who first coined that, actually. I'm blanking. I'm literally
Oh,
blanking.
Mike Myers.
Thank you. I blanked right out. I could see his face, and I was like,
Yep. So, as a communications piece, I thought that was pretty effective.
Oh, yes, definitely. He hit all the right notes
Right.
in that song, if you will.
Yeah. It's like, as Prime Minister, my job is.
Mhm.
And tells you what he's going to do. And I guess today he's going to tell us how he's going to do it.
Well.
Although he's been kind of telling us along the way.
He's been telegraphing it for a while, for sure. Something to consider is and we've talked about this in the past, is how oftentimes he'll say, this is what I'm going to do, then explain in very simple layman's terms how it is he's going to do what he's going to do. Unlike his opposition that just spouts out a 3-word slogan, verb the noun, and never explains anything about how anything will get done. And didn't he just have another press conference the other day with a new 3-word slogan in a grocery store, if memory serves?
Oh, I must have missed that one.
I think that was on Friday, actually. And I was going to address it Friday evening, but I just didn't. Didn't want him. Didn't want him. Didn't want that taste in my mouth,
Oh.
Sometimes you just, no, I don't need the sound of his voice in my head, and I don't need his annoying hyperbolic diatribe repeating, which is what happens when I hear him long enough. I just keep hearing it over and over.
Yeah, indeed. On that front, because you mentioned that, and you made me think of something I saw the other day that perfectly illustrates a point that you are making. The post he had on his Facebook page, I'm sure it was probably a tweet as well, somewhere along the way. But I will show you this, and then this is the exact perfect example. What you're talking. So we have Pierre. Prime Minister Mark Carney has been in power for 7 months, promising to negotiate a win with the U.S. and open new markets. Here is his scoreboard. Mark Carney's tariff record, the tariff hikes that happened.
Mhm.
Because Pierre is trying to make it a correlation is causation, because Mark Carney is Prime Minister. We had these tariffs happen.
Of course.
And reductions, 0. Of course, if Pierre Poilievre had to do this list for every world leader, the reductions wouldn't be all that great either. You will notice here that Pierre does the thing that I keep on saying that he does. He points out a problem. Yes, it is a problem. We haven't got any reductions in tariffs. Then he points you in the direction of who to blame. Mark Carney puts the metaphorical political gun in your hand and wants you to shoot that way. But you notice that no offer of solutions, no offer plan, no proposal of an alternative strategy. This is terrible. It's his fault.
Mhm.
And that's where it stops.
Yeah.
That's where it stops. He's got nothing. He's got nothing.
He never
All right.
never does anything.
No, not at all. Now here, Mr. Grizzly, I have something that is going to make you happy.
Oh.
Yes. It's a gentleman who goes by the name of Bill Kelly. I mentioned him before, veteran broadcaster. And he is saying something here about what some of the things that we're looking for in the budget. Not so much in the budget, but how you've got it. There are certain things that governments must do.
Mhm.
Put it that way. And he makes a point that you make very often, actually. And I thought you would want to hear it because, it's something when two schmoes like us say it, right? But then it's something else when you hear somebody who has either a distinguished career or experience in the sector actually say, no, your instinct here is actually correct. So you are on the right track here. If that's what you're thinking, yeah, absolutely. Keep thinking that because that's the right thing. You get a little boost.
Mhm.
So, and I'm not going to tell you what it is he said. I'm going to play it for you. And I just want to see your face because I am sure you will recognize it as soon as he says it. Okay. I might start a couple of seconds before, but that's all right. I was trying to finesse it. Here we go. That's spinning wheel.
And he knows what it takes to get the economy back on track. And it's going to take time. There's a commercial. I can't even remember which investment firm it was, but it seemed like every 10 minutes during the World Series about investments. And remember, there was a graph that kept showing going up and up and up. And I thought they were showing like how the Blue Jays have been improving, but it was about investment. They said, good things take time to develop. Well, that's basically, I think, the subtext of what Carney is doing here. They've got a plan that have so far been getting a thumbs up, at least a genial thumbs up anyway, from a lot of the business leaders to get through this. And they understand. And as we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, the message now seems to be, look, this guy gets it. And it's not something, that we can just flick a switch and all of a sudden we're going to go from, concern to a great economy where everybody lives happily ever after. It's going to take some time and it's going to take some tough decisions. There are some programs that may have to be cut, some programs that may have to be reduced, but that's part of the process. And there are going to be people that are going to be pissed off about that. Well, that's part of the process. And there is a bit of a trickle down to this. We get that. But you can't run this business. You can't run this country the way that some governments have tried to. The Poilievre's idea and conservative ideas in the past has been, let's look after the wealthy people. They get the tax breaks. They get the tax situations. Keep your foreign investments. Now, keep your bank accounts in the Cayman Islands. As long as you're happy and fruitful, you'll stay here and invest here. Well, they're not investing here. First of all, the numbers show that they're hanging on to their money. They're not reinvesting it into Canada. We have to change that around. But we have to look after everyone else. There is no such thing as trickle down. The only thing that gets trickled down here is the grief. Because if you don't look after everybody, you're looking after nobody. And that's one of the realities I think they're going to be facing here. So it's an important budget for that very reason. But as we said at the outset here, and I want to reiterate this, don't listen to.
So there you go.
Mhm.
Right? The whole which part do you think it was?
Well, you don't wave your magic wand and have it happen overnight. It takes time.
Right. Exactly. Now, there's one more here. Let me see if I've got it for you. This is one that might be more obvious to the kids here.
He talked simplistically, and we mentioned this on a previous podcast about capital spending and operational spending. They're two separate things, and you can't just lump them together and say, well, this is the number. It's government spending, but it's government spending in a different way. Oftentimes, operational spending, you don't necessarily get a return on that investment. Those are things like CPP. Those are things like the dental plan, the pharmacare plan, the medical plan in general, healthcare, things of this nature. Those things don't necessarily and probably shouldn't be counted on for a return on investment, but there's still things that government needs to be committed to. And sadly, past governments, especially conservative governments, have had those as the first things on the chopping block when they want to cut spending. Now, we don't need those social programs. We don't need those government assistance programs. Yeah, we do. Yes, we do, because as good as this economy is going to get and as profitable as it might be, there are always going to be people that are going to need financial assistance and help one way or another, or, whether it's going to be healthcare, whatever the case might be. And you can't turn your back on that. And this government has to realize that. And I think that's going to be part of it. That's the operational spending.
That was the other one. When I heard that, I thought of you right away.
Well,
you're the one that's always making the point, because there are always going to be people in society that are going to need some help.
Period.
You
Period.
can't run government like a business, because
it's not.
The mandate is different. The mission is different.
No matter what, no matter how well-intentioned you may be as an individual, at some point in time in life, you are going to need help. I mean, you can't, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. I don't believe you. Someone helped you along the way. Nobody does it alone.
Right.
Nobody. Nobody's an island. It doesn't happen that way. Whether you had a social program, or perhaps you pursued post-secondary education and were a recipient of an OSAP type of program, or a government bursary, or a grant. You don't do it alone. And we need to be able to help people, because if we don't help people, we have lost our humanity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to start choices.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You're the one that says, right, poverty is a choice. Food banks are a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to start making different choices.
Well, and this is the thing. We could make choices so that those things shouldn't have to exist. There's no reason for them to exist. Not in Canada, not in 2025. Sorry, I didn't mean to click on that. That was an accident. Sorry about that. But I say food banks are a failure. It's a failure of government to institute policies that would keep people whole, whether it be through properly funding welfare, or ODSP, or unemployment. Which, if we could just replace all of those things with one thing and call it a UBI, because 14,000 people around the world just lost their white-collar job at Amazon to AI. And 10,000, I think, was at Goldman Sachs. They were the other ones. Again, these are white-collar jobs that many people went to school for years to learn how to do, who now are unemployed because their corporate overlord has decided that, well, why pay a person when I can have a system do it for me? So when we start taking away people's ability to earn money, how do you spend it to buy the goods and services that people are trying?
Yeah, you're right. I'm just monitoring the CBC feed here, because it's 4:00. Sometimes these things start a little late. Now, certain things that have been already announced that you might see in the budget, so when they say there will be no surprises, $9 billion on defense, and by the end of March, which was announced a while ago, the $13 billion initially for the Build Canada Homes Agency, the $2 billion that was just announced for the small nuclear reactors at Darlington, Ontario, one of the first of funding announcements on the major projects, $5 billion for a new strategic response fund, $3.6 billion over the next 3 years for temporary EI measures due to tariff uncertainty, $1.8 billion to increase federal policing capacity, $370 million for a new biofuel production incentive, $77 million over 4 years to the CRA for trucking industry non-compliance, $660.5 million over 5 years for gender equality and safety, including new RCMP hires. By the way, that $77 million for the trucking industry non-compliance was one of the Bloc Québécois requests, but it was not one of their 6 non-negotiables. $97 million over 5 years to create a foreign credential recognition action fund, and $450 million over 3 years for a workers' reskilling package. So those are things that have already been announced. So we'll find out what other things will be in it that will be layering on top of that, and getting an overall better idea. So I look at this as almost part 2 to the speech he made at the University of Ottawa, where the conservatives are saying, yes, the kids, and only the kids, to take on all the sacrifices. which we all know it's not true if we all listen to that same speech. But it's, again, so this is like stage 3, right? Because what I said with that speech, it's like he took his campaign stump thing and put more meat on the bones. Well, today he's definitely going to be putting more meat on even those bones.
Oh, clearly.
Yes. And then in a couple of weeks, we are going to get the second round of announcements, because he said it would be at the Grey Cup or before, and that's in a couple of weeks. And watch how I make this wonderful segue. And Mr. Grizzly, it seems that you were correct in your first 2 predictions.
Yes, I know.
It's like, yes, I know. It's like, just
Both
matter of
games
fact.
were thrilling matches too, by the way, both of them. I'd say the BC one maybe a little more so because it was a much closer score in the end, and it could have been anybody's game. But
Yeah, because
yeah,
they came from behind and took the lead, and then lost it
relinquished it
again.
and got it back, and then won it with like no time left on the clock.
Yeah. Ooh, boy.
When do they read the budget? Well, they've probably been reading it throughout the day because they
there
would
we
have
go.
received it first thing this morning. What happens is, because I've done a lot of budgets over the years where I've had to work with the media, and we go into lockup, and I have to shut down all access to we take all their phones away. There's no Wi-Fi in the building. I shut the building down so that even if there was Wi-Fi, it would do nothing for you. So that, they're reviewing the budget throughout the day, and then they write their stories, and they can work on their stories all day long, but they can't hit send until we're told to turn the building back on.
Yeah.
So yeah, they get a copy of the budget first thing, but they're in media lockup because what was it? The 1 year it was leaked, and ever since then they're like, okay, we're not having that anymore.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on because I paused it so you don't miss anything, but the camera to the House of Commons. All right. So make sure I got everything there. Yep. All right. Here we go. Enjoy, kids and cubs.
You're seeing now inside the House of Commons, François-Philippe Champagne about to table Budget 2025. Remember, we haven't seen a budget in an awfully long time. So this will also give us a good sense of the country's finances. As soon as this starts happening, David Cochrane, who's sitting here beside me, will take us through what's in it.
Standing Order 83-1, I would like to table in both official languages the budget documents for 2025, including the notice of Ways and Means motion. The details of the measures are contained in these documents. Pursuant to Standing Order 83-2, I am requesting that an order of the day be designated for consideration of these motion, Mr. Speaker. And with that, I will give that to the clerk. Here. Monsieur le Président, honorable député de cette Chambre, chers Canadiens, chères Canadiennes, le budget que je présente
Okay,
aujourd'hui
the finance minister is on his feet, and he's going to take us through his speech, which we will dip into. But first, let's bring in David Cochrane, the host
Actually,
of
you
Power
know
and
what?
Politics, who has been in the budget lockup, and will take us through the highlights. David.
Yeah, here it is. It's called
Let's not
Canada
do that
Strong,
then,
Budget 2025.
because that's not what I wanted to show then. I'm not sure why they're not actually showing it.
Like I said, he was in the budget lockup, so he's had a copy of it since about 7:30 this morning.
Yes, yeah,
And
clearly.
would have reviewed it and read through it and perused it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So I will move over to CPAC because I don't want to listen to David Cochrane tell me what's in it. I do that after I listen to the actual finance minister read it. So, Mr. Grizzly, I'm going to need you to stretch because I need to go to CPAC.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just filling out some forms here in the background at the same time for work stuff because I had filled them out just the other day and sent them in, and they showed up blank, so I have to refill them. It's the funny thing about an Adobe PDF file when you're allowed to write in certain documents, and you can put the information in there, and then you save it, and it should be there, but then when you send it in, it somehow just deletes itself. So it's very frustrating when that happens. So I have to redo this whole thing all over again, and I'm like, I can't remember what I put in the first time. I hope I put in all the right stuff.
All right.
Kind of a pain.
All right. I'm set. Thank you so much for helping.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. And here we go.
Monsieur le Président, honorable député de cette...
Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this House, Canadians. The budget I present today comes at a time of profound change, a time to build.
The budget I present today comes at a time of profound change, a time to build. The world is undergoing a series of fundamental shifts at a speed, scale, and scope not seen since the fall of the Berlin Wall. The rules-based international order and the trading system that powered Canada's prosperity for decades are being reshaped, threatening our sovereignty, our prosperity, and our values. Long-standing supply chains and trade relationships that once ensured stable growth in this country from coast to coast to coast, and good job across our nation, and affordable products are being disrupted. Monsieur le Président, l'impact est...
Mr. Speaker, the impact is profound, hurting Canadian companies, affecting workers, disrupting supply chains, and causing uncertainty that holds back investment.
En fait, le niveau...
In fact, the level of uncertainty is higher than what we have seen and felt for generations. It is not a transition. Rather, it is a true generational shift. The challenges are great, but the opportunities for Canada are even greater.
Mr. Speaker, but the opportunities for Canada are even greater. Et c'est dans cet esprit que...
And in this spirit, today, I present to you Budget 2025. As a former finance minister, also from Shawinigan, so eloquently put it,
humility, but also with confidence, Mr. Speaker. This is Canada. This budget must be generational in its ambition and serve to shape our economy and our nation's future. Il n'y a pas de place pour le retrait.
there is no place for withdrawal, ambiguity, or even standing still. Only for bold and swift action.
Bold and swift action is what is needed. To weather the storm of uncertainty, we will not lower ourselves, Mr. Speaker. Quite the opposite. We will raise them to catch the winds of economic change because we believe in Canada. Nous explorerons de...
We will explore new markets and sell more of the best of what Canada has to offer.
We will build here at home stronger industries, nation-building infrastructures, and millions of more homes for Canadians. We will protect what matters most, our people, our communities, and our sovereignty. And we will empower Canadians by making life more affordable, creating new career opportunities, and ensuring every generation can get ahead. This is how we win. This is how we keep winning, Mr. Speaker. You're here.
When people look back on this budget, they will be able to judge the importance of the choices that we have made. Greater autonomy is and continues to be the best approach to achieve real resilience. It is in this spirit that, through Budget 2025, we are building Canada strong. Mr. Speaker, around the world, tariffs have increased. Growth is slowing, and trade relationships are being tested. All of these constraints are being felt across the country by Canadians in their daily lives. Families are seeing this every week when they do their groceries. Renters see it when they pay their rent. Young people are sending out their resumes, but they aren't receiving any offers as a result of their efforts. In factories, in the fields, and in communities across the country, people feel the current economic challenges. Workers are facing fewer shifts, shorter hours, and in some cases, unfortunately, layoffs.
Want to grow, but uncertainty is understandably making them wait. And for many, it feels like opportunity is slipping just a little further out of reach. That's why we need to act, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these are the realities Canadian workers and their families are facing. They are doing everything they can to keep moving forward in uncertain times. And through it all, the Canadian economy has held steady. Forecasters now expect modest GDP growth of just above 1% in 2025. C'est la résilience des Canadiens et des Canadiennes.
The resilience of Canadians is earning us the respect of our foreign partners. It is this same resilience that gives me confidence in the future. This very resilience also gives Canadians confidence in the future.
Trading partner fundamentally reshapes all of its trading relationship. There are two responses, Mr. Speaker. You can slash the deficit, hope for the best, wait for the uncertainty to unexpectedly disappear, and see if it trickles down, ever comes. That approach to balance the budget this year would have to eliminate vital social programs and all the capital investments needed for Canada's future. We chose a different path, Mr. Speaker, a path that believes in Canada, a path that invests in our country's future, a path that reinforces Canadian values, a path that makes us less resilient on our trading partner, a path that allows us to be master in our own house, Mr. Speaker. We chose Canada. This House will choose Canada as well, Mr. Speaker. I hope they will all choose Canada, parce que nous voulons tous et toutes être.
Because we all want to be masters of our own home, Mr. Speaker. We all believe in Canada, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, when our steel, aluminum, forestry, auto, and agriculture industries were hit by U.S. tariff and trade disruptions, we did not stand by and wait for the storm to pass. We stepped in with the most comprehensive set of trade resilience measures in Canadian history, because this is who we are as Canadians, Mr. Speaker. This is who we are. When times get tough, we stand together, because we are Canadian. The government launched... The government launched the Strategic Response Fund that my colleagues have been leading, allocating $5 billion to help sectors impacted by tariffs to adapt, to diversify, and to grow. Businesses can use the fund to invest in the design of new products, retool plans to boost productivity, or offset the cost of accessing new markets, because we want our industry to succeed. We want them to be able to make this pivot, Mr. Speaker, because we believe in our workers, we believe in our industry, we believe in our future, we believe in Canada. Nous avons également mis en place un programme de liquidité.
We have also introduced a $1 billion liquidity relief package to help small and medium-sized businesses. because these businesses help our great country grow and they employ millions of Canadians. So this relief package will help businesses adapt, and it will include a new skills retraining program that will benefit 50,000 workers, Mr. Speaker. We believe that Canadian workers are at the very core of our strategy.
Are probably wondering today, we will be there to help you increase your competitiveness within the Canadian market. Pour nos travailleurs de
To our aluminum workers, we will be there to help you modernize your smelters and to open up new markets.
To our auto workers, we will fight alongside you to keep our auto plants in Canada, Mr. Speaker. To our lumber and canola producers, we know the times are hard and we are working not only to restore your market access, Mr. Speaker, but to expand it. And the recent trip of the Prime Minister in Asia was one of them. We are going to work tirelessly to expand your market. We believe in you, we believe in your industry, and we will do what it takes to make sure that you can sell your products around the world.
These strategic sectors are at the forefront of this generational change. We will ensure they are strong, resilient, and ready to lead our economic transition from dependence to resilience.
We're going to move this economy, Mr. Speaker, to be more resilient. We're going to move from reliance to resilience because we want Canada to succeed not only today, but for generations to come. We're going to move from uncertainty to prosperity, Mr. Speaker, because we understand that investing in Canada is the best way to ensure prosperity for generations to come. Le budget de 2025, Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, Budget 2025 is our response. It is for all Canadians. It is a plan for resilience. Budget 2025 is rooted in confidence, focused on results, and designed to ensure that Canada not only weathers this storm, but emerges even stronger from it.
The words of a previous finance minister, when in 1995 he presented his budget, and he said at the time, our very way of life as Canadians is being tested. And there are times in the progress of people when fundamental choices must be made and a new course charted. For Canada, Mr. Speaker, this is one of those times. Et je dirais, Monsieur le Président, que nous...
Mr. Speaker, I would say that today we are also facing a unique moment in the history of our great country. The Prime Minister has called on our country to look beyond today's challenges and to embark on a path that will redefine Canada for generations to come. Why? Because we believe in Canada, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister asked each of us to focus on what we can control and to take bold, ambitious action.
It's in the strand of Canadians, Mr. Speaker. I have confidence in our ability as a nation to meet the moment. I have confidence that together we can build Canada, protect our way of life, and empower Canadians like never before, because we believe in Canada, Mr. Speaker. Hear, hear. It is interesting to note, Mr. Speaker, and all Canadians who are watching and those with us today would know, Canada has what the world needs and what the world increasingly wants, Mr. Speaker. It goes from our product to our technology to our values. Mr. Speaker, Canada is inspiring the world. We are an energy superpower in both clean and conventional energy. Nous sommes l'un des principaux.
We are among the top producers of critical minerals and a world leader in artificial intelligence.
Nous avons
We have unmatched market access, as we are the only country in the G7 with free trade agreements with every other G7 nation.
Nous avons les gens.
We have the people, we have the resources, we have the stability necessary to prosper and to compete in the new economy before us.
Ainsi,
So, Canada enters this period of transformation from a position of strength.
Speaker, the world is changing, but Canada is strong. We're going to build Canada strong together. We're going to empower Canadians, and we're going to defend our sovereignty, Mr. Speaker. Canadians have done it before. We will do it again. Canada also has the lowest net debt to GDP ratio in the G7, and the federal debt to GDP ratio will remain stable over the budget horizon. We also have one of the lowest deficits in the G7 and one of the strongest fiscal positions in the world. Yes, Mr. Speaker, we have a strong fiscal position, a strong base to work for, a strong base to invest, Mr. Speaker. And we must use this fiscal power to make generational investment because we believe in Canada. And as the managing director of the International Monetary Fund recently said, both Germany and Canada recognize that in this very testing time, they need to use their fiscal space. In the case of Canada, the Canadian authorities have been very decisive to take action in the context of changing relations with their main trading partner. Mr. Speaker, Canada is recognized on the world stage as a country with the fiscal capacity to invest, to grow its economy, to invest in its people, and to protect its sovereignty. That recognition matters because it affirms something fundamental about this country. When times are difficult, we do not retreat. We advance, we invest, Mr. Speaker, and that's what Budget 2025 is all about. Budget 2025 is a plan to catalyze investments from provinces, territories, municipalities, indigenous communities, and the private sector. With this plan, in 5 years, we will enable $1 trillion in total investment in this country, Mr. Speaker. Enable $1 trillion of investment. Conservative are silent in their heart, they support that, Mr. Speaker, because I know that they will take the break week to go around and tell their constituent how great we're going to see this country and all the investment we're going to see. Hear, hear. And I know in their heart I can see them.
Canada is one of the best places in the world to invest, and we are going to make it even better. This fiscal strength allows us to make historic investments, not only today, but also for future generations.
To Canadians who feel the strain of these times, our message is clear. We will not back down. We will be there for you now and for as long as it takes. We will do what Canadians do best in times of need. We look after one another. We help each other. That's the Canadian way. That's our way, Mr. Speaker.
Meeting this great challenge, Mr. Speaker, requires both ambition and discipline. We need to be ambitious in our investments and rigorous in our spending. And that's why this budget charts a new course for Canada's public finances. Because Canadians expect their government to achieve results. And to get there, we must spend less on operations so we can invest more in Canada's future. First, a new capital budgeting framework, separating our day-to-day spending from the investments that build our future. This reform will allow Canadians to better understand where their money goes, and it will ensure that each dollar helps strengthen our productivity.
Mr. Speaker, we will make capital investment a national priority. Mieux budgéter.
Better budgeting also means presenting the budget at the best time. From now on, the federal budget will be presented in the fall, aligning with the construction season and better supporting provinces, municipalities, as well as contractors in the delivery of their project.
Build this country, and we have a lot to do, and we're going to do it together, Mr. Speaker. And what you see in this budget and in this Prime Minister is that we have a roadmap, Mr. Speaker, to build Canada strong. We understand that there's things we need to do on our side to make sure we can build like never before, and this is the plan to do it. Second, it's all about discipline. The Prime Minister has been clear. Canada's new government will spend less so we can invest more. Mr. Speaker, our budget puts forward $60 billion in saving over 5 years, Mr. Speaker. Canadians have been tightening their belt for quite some time, and it's only natural that we put our house in order as well. And we're going to make sure to the exercise we've done, Mr. Speaker, we found these savings, we did the hard work, we took the tough decision, but you know what? That's what Canadians expect from us. We have a strong mandate. They tell us, do what must be done. That's what we did, Mr. Speaker, and we're going to continue to do. So let me be clear. We are protecting the vital services. While we did that, Mr. Speaker, let me be very clear for all the Canadians watching at home. We are protecting the vital services that you rely on, including childcare, dental care, farmer care, because those are essential and vital for families across our nation. This is who we are as Canadians, Mr. Speaker, and we're going to remain true to our values.
And we are making responsible and pragmatic choices to reduce inefficiencies and focus government initiatives on our core priorities.
Called the Government Comprehensive Expenditure Review, we are focusing investment on initiatives that meet their objectives and complement, rather than duplicate, services delivered by other levels of government. Mr. Speaker, we have looked at how we can streamline program, how we can right-size, how can we use technology, how can we use AI with one goal in mind to provide better service to Canadians, to be more efficient, because Canadians deserve the best service from their government, and we will deliver. Mr. Speaker, we will cut red tape, we will digitize services and make them faster, simpler, and easier to access.
We are encouraging the adoption of new technologies across government, including Made in Canada sovereign AI tools through a new digital transformation office. Because, Mr. Speaker, we understand the potential of this digital transformation, and Canada will be both a global leader in this and in service delivery.
A more effective government that can deliver smarter, faster, and more effective services to Canadians. Since 2019, the federal public service population has grown at a rate which is far greater than the Canadian population, Mr. Speaker. We must get the size of our public service back to a sustainable level that is keeping with best practices. But as we are, Mr. Speaker, we will do that with fairness and compassion, because we appreciate the work of every civil servant in this country. We appreciate their service. We appreciate their work. We value their contribution to our country. And whilst we do that, Mr. Speaker, we will make our tax system fairer. Third, we need clear fiscal anchors to provide the predictability and clarity to the world and to Canadians. We will balance day-to-day operating spending with revenues by 2028, 2029, shifting the budget towards investments that grow the economy. Mr. Speaker, this is a pivotal moment in Canada's history. We're going to make sure that the dollar that people entrust in us will be invested to grow Canada. We will maintain a declining deficit to GDP ratio, ensuring that the discipline today while investing in our collective future. Les mesures proposées dans
The measures proposed in Budget 2025 put us on the right path to achieve our investment goals. Mr. Speaker, we will create a business environment that attracts an unprecedented flow of private capital into the energy, infrastructure, housing, and defense sectors. Mr. Speaker, this budget is one of investment, generational investment for this generation and future generations. Mr. Speaker, this is because we believe in Canada. Our investments will focus on our economic success and focus on productivity, because productivity means doing more with less, because that's the best way we can improve
I'm not really
the
hearing anything about the
lifestyles
actual
of
budget.
Canadians.
Yeah,
The 2025 budget
this is
will not only accelerate construction
I
in
know that they
housing
do
and
this.
infrastructure, but
It's not
across the
new.
country, it will also strengthen Canada.
But tell us what we want to hear. You don't need to sell us. We tuned in so we could hear what the budget has to say. I don't like the sales pitch. Get down to brass tacks, man.
Yeah, I really thought that there would be less sales pitch and more just given Carney's so boardroom.
Well, this is the thing. All he's been doing is pitching us. This is
Yeah.
we're going to do. That's wonderful. Look, we've all got busy lives. Tell us how the budget is going to financially affect us, because right now I'm not getting any of that. I'm getting a sales pitch, which, look, I get it, but really?
Mm-hmm.
And I like him. I like Champagne. I do. But he's been droning on for a few minutes here, and I'm like, come on, man.
Yep. I'm right with you. I'm trying to like pick out notes, and it's like tell me dollar amounts, tell me where they're going, tell me.
Not getting any of that.
Yeah. Hey. All right.
It's disappointing because you know what? We get enough sales pitchy stuff from the opposition daily. And they're pitching us on stuff, but they have no actual solutions. So right now, what he's doing sounds empty and hollow. And I don't need that.
Yeah.
I need to know what's being cut. How is it going to affect people? Are you increasing taxes on the wealthiest corporations? Are you cutting back on corporate welfare? What are you going to do to help the average Canadian? And I'm not hearing that right now.
Yeah. Let's see if it gets more detailed somewhere along the way.
Yeah, if you want to speed it up a bit or jump, I don't know if it's live or if you might.
Yeah, this is live.
Yeah, it is. Okay. It's kind of disappointing though. It's like, man, really?
I'm with you. I expected something a little more 1, 2, 3, ABC, boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
I expected a bit of pitch at the beginning, of course.
Yeah.
That's natural. There's a little showmanship, but it's like, dude, you've been going on for what? 15 minutes almost?
Yeah.
And I've not heard one single thing that's
There's
going to
a
tell me
couple of
what's going to
things.
happen.
There's a couple of things, but yeah, it's not chock-a-block full of stuff here.
No, it's pretty hollow.
All right, let's see what he keeps saying.
Okay.
Places in the world to invest.
Canada is a great place to invest, but together with Budget 2025, we're going to make it even greater, Mr. In short, Canada is the place to be. Canada is the place to invest. Canada is the place to grow, Mr. Speaker. And we're proud to serve Canadians.
In short,
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, budgets are not about doing everything. They're about what's necessary and doing it well. We're putting forward a firm, fair, and results-driven plan, the kind of reform Canadians are asking for and the kind that's always served our country well.
Plan will invest $280 billion over 5 years in capital to strengthen Canada's productivity, competitiveness, and resilience. On a cash basis, This is an historic investment of $450 billion, Mr. Speaker, in Canada.
Okay, so there's something there. I need a little bit more detail, but there's something there.
And we're going to do all that because we believe in Canada. We believe in Canadians. We believe in our workers. We believe in our future, Mr. Speaker. Ces investissements.
These generational investments will drive growth in every region, Mr. Speaker, and create good middle-class jobs, the kind of jobs that allow young people and families to plan for the future with confidence.
Our generational investment will focus on 4 key priorities. Housing, to restore affordability and opportunity. Infrastructure, to connect Canadians and accelerate growth. Defense and security, to protect our sovereignty and our communities. Productivity and competitiveness, to lead and make Canada an innovation powerhouse, the innovation powerhouse of the 21st century. Il ne s'agit pas de...
And these are not abstract priorities. They are the foundations of a stronger, more ambitious and competitive Canada because we believe in Canada. Mr. Speaker, our task now is to turn our fiscal strength into national purpose. For generations, together, Canadians have undertaken major projects that have connected our regions, energized our industries, and defined our identity. For more than 1 century, Mr. Speaker.
The Economy Act adopted last June continues that tradition, a very proud tradition. It removed barriers to internal trade, accelerate approvals for major projects, and strengthens the economic union that binds our province and territories together. We are completing the unfinished work of Confederation, Mr. Speaker. We are going to complete the unfinished work of Confederation, ensuring that wherever a product is made in Canada, it can be sold in Canada, where trade and opportunity flow freely across provincial lines. Mr. Speaker, this is about Canada. If you build something in one part of the country, you ought to be able to sell it across the country, because we believe in Canada.
I can support that.
Bonne nouvelle,
Good news. Our government won't stop there, but also launch the next generation of nation-building projects. Highways, airstrips, ports, electrical grids, and digital corridors will define the next century of Canadian growth. And thanks to these investments, we will connect regions, strengthen supply chains across the country, and create hundreds of thousands of high-paying jobs in every region of this big country.
Structure Fund, Mr. Speaker, will expand possibilities and opportunities like never before in Canada's north, Mr. Speaker. We should all be proud as Canadian. We're going to make historic investment in Canada's north. This is a great moment for the country. Infrastructure in communities all across Canada with the new Build Communities Strong Fund, Mr. Speaker. As we build million more homes, we'll need infrastructure like roads to build new neighborhoods. This fund will help build that. New neighborhoods will lead to new communities across our country that will want recreational and athletic center. This fund will help build that. Wow. And the new communities will need new hospital. This fund will help build that. This fund will build Canada strong. This fund will build our community strong. This fund will build Canada strong, Mr. Speaker. And something I'm very proud of, and I think the Prime Minister would join me in that, we will do all this by being our own best customer to the new Buy Canadian policy. It's about time that we put Canadian suppliers first.
When the government buys, Canadian suppliers will be our first choice whenever possible. Full stop. Because we believe in Canada. We will use
steel made by our workers in Hamilton and Sault Ste. Marie.
We will use aluminum cast in Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, Bécancour, and Kitimat, and we will use softwood lumber cut in Thunder Bay, Prince George, and even in my region of Latuque.
Workers, we will support our country. We will support our industry. Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, I'll give you an example. Yesterday in St. Tite, a small rural city in my riding, I visited Boulay Boots, a family business that has been making boots since 1933. I even had the opportunity to build part of the shoes that I'm proudly wearing today with the help of many skilled workers. A reminder of the craftsmanship and pride that make the Canadian manufacturing industry so strong. Mr. Speaker, the shoes I proudly wear today are the same ones worn by RCMP officers.
I know the Conservative would wish they would have a pair too. Mr. Speaker, these shoes have been made in Canada by Canadian for Canadians. That's the way to go, Mr. Speaker. That's how you build a Canada strong. C'est tout le sens.
And that's what Buy Canadian is all about. Good jobs, resilient communities, and pride in what we're building together.
It's all about good jobs. It's all about resilient communities in our cities and in rural communities across our nation. And this is about pride in what we build, pride in Canada, pride in our workers. That's how you build a strong country. Mr. Speaker, Canada has a legacy of builders. We are a nation of builders. That same spirit of building at home has defined Canada for generations. We have done this before. Back in 1945, just after the war, Canada had to do big things. A so-called, at the time, Minister of Everything, the great CDR banked on the boundless potential of Canada to make big change in our country. He was not afraid to bet big on Canadians. Neither we are, Mr. Speaker, because we believe in Canada. This budget is guided by the strong conviction that Canada must remain a nation of builders, of infrastructure and of innovation, of trust in public institutions and hope for generations to come. This nation knows how to build. We built the Canadian Pacific Railway in 1885, allowing our country to be connected from coast to coast and supporting trade across the prairies. We built the St. Lawrence Seaway, more recently in 1959, creating a deep water route from the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean. Et plus récemment, nous avons construit les...
And recently, we built the James Bay Hydroelectric Facility in 1985, providing abundant clean energy to power Canadian industries and enabling Canada to become one of the world's top producers of renewable hydroelectric energy. Mr. Speaker.
Of Canada, that's why we want to build a Canada strong together. Each generation has taken on its share of the work and left the next generation stronger for it. We will do it again. because we believe in Canada.
Hear, hear.
With planned investment of $115 billion in infrastructure over 5 years, we will meet the moment. That's what Canadians expect from their government. They know what's going on. They want us to meet the moment, and we'll meet that moment. And we will build the backbone of Canada's next economy. Our task is simple, but it's profound. To turn plans into projects, to turn projects into careers, and to turn careers into prosperity, Mr. Speaker. That's what we are committed to do. That's what we will do with Canadians across the nation. And to do so, we will do that in a way that protects our future, that also protects our nature, and also protect our core values. Building a true partnership with Indigenous people whose stewardship and knowledge of the land continue to guide us today. Because we do not just build for ourselves. Because we do not build just for ourselves, we build for those who will follow us. I'm often reminded of the 7th-generation principle. Rooted in Indigenous teachings, a reminder that every decision we take must consider its impact on future generations. Mr. Speaker, we will build Canada strong, but we will build with Canadian values. Mais un pays fort, Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, a strong country invests not only in its economy, but also in its identity. Over the past year, Canadians have shown what Canada is truly made of. When global uncertainty tested us, we looked to each other. People asked where their food was grown and chose to buy from local farmers and producers. Families traveled across the country and rediscovered its beauty from coast to coast to coast. Communities rallied around Canadian businesses, creators, and workers. That, Mr. Speaker, is what it means to be Canadian, to stand up for one another, to build together, and to take pride in what we make, grow, and create here at home. That is what it means to be Canadian, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we are here to defend Canada. We are a bilingual, diverse, and compassionate country, shaped by reconciliation, equality, and respect. Mr. Speaker, we believe in a strong Canada. Mr. Speaker, our government is investing heavily to help Canadians get ahead.
I think this is something that speaks to everyone. Every young people in the country, every family around the country, everyone listening today. Canada faces a steep housing supply gap that has threatened affordability. And our minister has been doing great work to make sure we have more supply and continue to do so. We need to make sure that, Canadians across the nation can find a home. And because when they find a home, this is the best way to build their lives. And therefore, we want to be there for them. Budget 2025 is, Mr. Speaker, the most ambitious housing plan since the Second World War. This is what we're delivering for Canadians. The moment calls for it, and we are meeting the moment, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister has been clear. We need to build in this country. We need to build faster. We need to build bigger. We need to build now. We need to build Canada strong. We have put in this budget record investment of $13 billion over 5 years in our flagship home building initiative, the Build Canada Homes. And I'm sure Canadians across the country understand that, because this will be making sure that we build at speed and scale that we have not seen in generations. And we will build, Mr. Speaker, we will double the pace of housing construction over the next decade. while we create a new industry. When we will be using Canadian technology, Canadian workers, and Canadian lumber, we will use Canadian workers to build Canada with Canadian material. This is what we're going to do, Mr. Speaker, because we believe in Canada. And we will improve affordability and create careers in the skilled trades. Because as we build this country, Mr. Speaker, young people will see that the dream they have of home ownership will become within reach again. That's what we want to do for future generation, because you know what? Every home built is a step toward a more affordable and a more confident Canada.
Mr. Speaker, affordability isn't just about housing. It's about making life easier for Canadians and reducing everyday costs while protecting the programs families depend on. Canadians elected us to take bold action to help them improve their quality of life quickly.
And we will continue to do. The very first thing that this Prime Minister did for Canadians was to cut tax for 22 million Canadians. That is the first thing we did. First thing we did, and then we brought down gas prices by 18 cents per liter when we canceled the consumer carbon price. Yes. See, even the Conservatives are cheering, Mr. Speaker. And they should be cheering about that as well, because we made permanent the National School Food Program. Helping 100,000 children each year. I know in the heart they support it, Mr. Speaker. Hey, Monsieur le Président.
And Mr. Speaker, we launched automatic federal benefits, reaching 5.5 million low-income Canadians to ensure that no one gets left behind. We are going to strengthen competition in the telecommunications and banking sectors in order to drive down costs.
These are practical measures that make life more affordable today and build confidence in tomorrow. Because when Canadians can afford a home, when Canadians can raise a family, when Canadians can plan for the future, our entire country grows stronger. Because
prosperity is only meaningful when it's shared and when all Canadians can see themselves in the promise of this country.
Budget is that every Canadian should feel that there's something for them. Because it's not only about today, it's about future generation. It's about building for them. It's about making sure that we'll have a very strong country for generations to come. And as the Prime Minister has said, there can be no prosperity without security. Let me repeat, there can be no prosperity without security. And Mr. Speaker, in that vein, I am sure that every member, and I will look across the aisle and I look in the eyes of every member of this House, every member in this House would agree that we do need to protect our people, our communities, and our country. Every Canadian expects every member of this House to be there for them. When it comes to security and our sovereignty, Mr. Speaker, we all should be rising and defend what we're proposing. Because, Mr. Speaker, a confident nation that protects its sovereignty at home and its interests abroad through strength, stability, and partnership with allies, we share our values. This is what we're doing, Mr. Speaker.
And with $30 billion over 5 years, Budget 2025 represents the largest defense investment in decades.
Mr. Speaker, yes, let's cheer our people. I have even more good news, Mr. Speaker. We will meet our 2% NATO commitment this year. We will modernize NORAD. We will reinforce our Arctic defense, and we will equip our brave men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces with the infrastructure and technology that they need to safeguard our nation. And we will do that because we believe in Canada. With our new Defense Investment Agency and Defense Industrial Strategy, we will build up Canada's defense industry, strengthening Canadian businesses and supporting Canadian workers and creating good union jobs, Mr. Speaker, across our country. Our work on defense will strengthen Canadian Research Centre. It will strengthen Canadian communities in the North, working with our Inuit and First Nation partners across our country by building dual-use infrastructure like ports and runways to make sure that every community, when we invest, can benefit, Mr. Speaker. Notre plan va créer de
Our plan will create new jobs for engineers, technicians, and scientists in sectors like aerospace, shipbuilding, cybersecurity, and AI. We're going to hire 1,000 new Border Services officers and 1,000 new RCMP officers to secure our borders and keep our communities safe. Finally, by investing in law enforcement and justice reform, we will tackle organized crime, gun violence, and auto theft. We're also going to invest and continue with passion and determination, as my colleague, the minister responsible, is doing, the important work with the provinces and territories to end gender-based violence. My colleague is working hard on that, and we are going to support her. We are going to keep supporting her.
Because every Canadian should feel safe, Mr. Speaker, and I want to commend the leadership of my colleague. She's extraordinary. She knows who she is, but I cannot pronounce her name in the House. But she knows who she is because she's been there and leading the way, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that, we invest and that we continue the important work across our nation. Alors que nous établissons des...
As we strengthen our security partnerships, it's essential that we also deepen our economic partnerships. In order to build a stronger future, we have to increase trade, innovate faster, and play a leadership role in clean and conventional energy. Mr. Speaker, trade has always been one of Canada's strengths, connecting our population, our resources, and our industries to the rest of the world. But too much of that trade depends on a single partner.
We are launching a trade diversification strategy supported by a Trade Diversification Corridors Fund to expand Canada's reach, double our overseas export within a decade, which will unlock $300 billion in new opportunities for Canadian business and Canadian workers. This is good news if you're a small and medium-sized business. This is good news if you're an exporter. This is good news because now you see we're going to expand our market. We're going to bring what Canada has to offer to the world.
We are going to strengthen ports, railways, and ports of entry. We will reduce bottlenecks, and we will open faster routes to global markets. Because when Canadian businesses are competitive and successful abroad, Canadian workers and communities prosper right here at home.
Mr. Speaker, Canada, I think we can agree on, all of us can agree on that, is the best place to live. Canada is the best place to live. And it's the reason why top talent from around the world want to come here, because they see opportunities and possibilities to contribute to cutting-edge research in our country. With our flagship international talent attraction strategy, of more than $1.7 billion, we will make sure that the best and brightest continue to choose Canada to innovate, to invent, and to grow our industry, Mr. Speaker. The best and brightest will come here in Canada.
I'm just going to mute him for a moment there because I've got the highlights up on the screen here, as you can see. Pierre Poilievre, I'm sure, is losing his shit because he said that he wanted a deficit no bigger than $42 billion, correct?
Yep.
And this is projected to be $70 to $100 billion, one of the largest in decades. There's all kinds of points there that you can see, but I just thought I'd put that 2 cents in, if you will.
Okay. I can't really read it from my screen.
Well, I can read it to you. It says key figures in context. Fiscal year 25-26 deficit is projected at roughly $70 billion to $100 billion, one of the largest in decades. A major new infrastructure fund of about $50 billion. Why it has U.S. figures, I don't know, because it's in Reuters. Yeah, that's who put it up there. Major new infrastructure fund of about $50 billion for local housing, transport, and health projects. Individual departmental main estimates and quotes show total budgetary spending for 25-26 about $486.9 billion in the early estimates. The budget introduces a new capital operating spending distinction, capital for large asset investments, as a structural shift in Ottawa's fiscal approach. Major priorities / driver themes: infrastructure and housing. The large fund aims to accelerate local infrastructure, in parentheses, housing, transit, health, across provinces. Defense and security. The budget includes additional spending to modernize and phase out aging military equipment. Economic diversification, talent attraction, up to $1 billion being directed at attracting top researchers and talent, and in parentheses, especially from the United States. Fiscal framework change. This is the first budget under Prime Minister Mark Carney and Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne. The change to fall budget and new capital versus operating distinction are structural shifts. Risks and financial implications. With a large deficit, the debt to GDP ratio may stop declining and effectively trade off between growth stimulus and fiscal sustainability. The actual payoff from infrastructure housing stimulus is uncertain. If growth disappoints, then increased borrowing could become a burden. Interesting. Very interesting. The shift in classification, capital versus operating, may make comparisons with prior budgets tricky. Risk of capitalizing what was previously operating spending. Experts have flagged this. Political risk. Because the budget is in a minority government context, it may be subject to opposition pressures affecting implementation. Well, we knew that.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise. Just a second here, and I'll bring up, there's another screen I have for you, and I'll just bring it up here in a sec. And where is it? It is right here. Here we go. This is the next one, and it says how to watch going forward. What to watch going forward. Sorry, how quickly the infrastructure fund is deployed and how much of it is new versus pre-announced. Growth outcomes. Whether the stimulus leads to improved investment, productivity, and diversification, especially given external trade headwinds. Interest rate and inflation path. Large deficits may stress the bond market or influence the Bank of Canada's decision. The budget implementation bills and opposition responses, whether some parts get watered down or delayed. The bottom line, hang on, where did it go there? I had it up here a second. I have another document. There it is. The bottom line, this budget sets a bold agenda with heavy investment, signaling that the government is willing to tolerate higher deficits for now to drive long-term structural change. But the bet only pays off if growth improves and the investment is effective. Otherwise, the increased fiscal risk will become material. So, lots to digest there. Lots to digest. What does it mean in the long term? Well, that's tough to say. I mean, long term, if Skippy has his way, he'll bring the government down and we'll have an election at Christmas.
Meanwhile, I've seen true tweets of Michelle Bulgarner complaining about the what a costly election would what the bill would be, and it's like, excuse me, aren't you the party that just had your leader run immediately again?
Hmm. Yeah, and costs what was it, $7
Two,
million?
two,
2 million? Oh, okay.
two. But like, really? Oh, now you care about the cost of another unnecessary election?
Yeah.
Really?
When it suits her needs, yes.
Yeah. Indeed. All right. Well,
Hypocrites,
clearly,
hypocrites. I just wish somebody had a backbone and could actually, it, like literally. Okay, look, I realize the leader of the party that I'm in is about to run in a by-election, and yes, that's going to cost a few $1 million, and we need to accept that this is taking place. And wear it. I mean, it's never going to happen. It'll never happen, especially with this crop of reformicons. In Joe Clark's day, at least they would have owned it.
right.
Hell, even in Brian Mulroney's day, they would have owned it. But since the reformicons got into power or became a party, no, it's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
When we do it, it's okay, but when they do it, it's bad. It's right out of the Trump playbook, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just,
Yeah.
I had to get that out.
This, well, clearly it has not gotten better.
No.
There are little moments of things like mentioned here and there, but it's definitely not structured as a point by point. We need to address this.
Yes.
To that effect, we are going to do this. We're going to spend this much of money in this and this and this and this. This is this. Usually it's a general sort of motherhood sort of statement.
Mhm.
This, and then they're sort of, and that's why we need to do X, Y, and Z. And in order to achieve X, Y, and Z, we're going to spend this much on this area, this much on that area, this much on this area.
We're not
and then we
getting
go
that.
to the next section, and we are not getting that
He's still pitching.
at all.
I mean, they have put out some numbers, right?
Yeah.
But it's still, the whole thing's been a sales pitch.
But yes, but it's not a good sales pitch.
No, because it's not.
This is a wasted exercise. And I mean, like, again, listen, François-Philippe Champagne, as much as I like the guy, if there was a shuffle, I would shuffle him out.
Mhm.
He was great at industry when he had to go from place to place and sell Canada and be the little Energizer bunny.
And he was good at that.
Yes. But
Well, and you
he's
just said
not
the
doing it
magic
for
word,
me here
though.
at finance.
You just said the magic word, though, sir, when he had to go out and sell.
Yes.
And what's he doing right now? He's selling.
Yes, but this is not.
It's not the time to do it.
Yeah.
I realize some people want a little bit of flash and that politics is show business for unattractive people. But come on, man. You're wasting our time. I'm genuinely upset about this. It's like they're not giving us the details.
No.
Not enough. Give me point. I expected more because it's Mark Carney. I expected it to be cut and dry and delivered in that manner.
I expected it pretty much to be written as a Mark Carney speech would have been written normally. And
right?
it's not. Each minister has their own speechwriters or whatnot. But the impression we really had is that Mark Carney really is the Minister of Finance. So therefore, it would really sound like a Mark Carney speech. And there are paragraphs here and there where he's speaking. You turn, oh, now I hear Mark Carney.
Yep.
And then he
Absolutely.
goes back, and then he goes back to the, we're great, we're wonderful, we're great, we're all going to work together, and everything's going to be fine because we need to work hard on this, and this is what we're going to do. And
Rah, rah, ole. That's great.
Yeah.
But right now, what we need, and tell me if I'm way out to lunch on this, but I believe what we need as a nation is give us the facts, give us the straight goods, because we've got a spin doctor south of the border who lies every time he opens his damn mouth. I don't need spin. I don't need sales. I need to know what you're going to do to solve the problems, and we can move forward as a nation. Don't sell me. I'm already sold. You're already in power. You have to sell your opposition leader, but guess what? The sales pitch isn't going to work on him. He's already made up his mind before he even tabled a damn budget. He's going to vote against it because he's a prick.
Yeah. Kitsasi makes a good point here. Perhaps he's here to sell the budget and then be shuffled. I would assume the pitch is for investors and we could get the details from the book. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but I would still damn frickin' I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
when you have people that are dead set at taking whatever you're doing and spinning it in the most negative way possible or to put words in your mouth, clarity and concision.
Mhm.
There's nothing clear. The little points are all drowned into this big bath of aspirational sort of talk, which you need some aspirational talk. The prime minister used it to good effect during
Certainly.
the election campaign. You know, listen, we don't. It doesn't have to be this way. We can be better or more than we were. But this is just.
It's just
I'm
droning on
digging
and on
through the
and on and on.
aspirational talk to get the nuggets. I mean, I I I I I I went for some mental walks.
Dude, I was working.
I'm
He's not
trying
telling us
to pay
anything.
attention to, like, take specific notes out and
Yeah.
say, like, "He talked about this, it's like the"
No.
I'm not captivated.
No, not at all. It's disappointing. PNC Brio brings up a very good point here, though. He says, if the NDP abstain, the government still stands. And
Yes.
you know what? I agree with you. I don't see the government falling because, Pierre, what is he? Is he that delusional? He thinks he's going to win an election? Maybe. I mean, we've been given some sort of background information that insider party people say to some of their members that just they tell them what they want to hear when they're not really giving them the straight goods. So maybe he's being told what he wants to hear, so he'll try and bring down the government because he's convinced he's going to win. He's not looking at polls. He's surrounding himself with yes men, which is what he's done his entire life. But I agree with PNC Bio here that NDP will probably just abstain from the vote, which means that the government won't fall because, look, if the government falls, NDP is completely wiped out.
Mhm.
They're trying to rebuild the party. They don't even have a leader right now. Bringing down the government does not benefit anyone.
Right.
And will cost us hundreds of millions of dollars because government goes into caretaker mode, and we already had a caretaker mode, and this is not a time to have another one. It really isn't. I mean, you got a lunatic south of the border who's about to take away food and health care from millions of Americans while his government is actually in shutdown mode, which only happens in that country. You know that, eh?
Mhm.
There's no other country in the world that happens in.
Yeah.
And
All right.
now's not the time to be playing Now's not the time to be playing politics.
Yeah.
I want to know what you're spending on, where the money's going, how it's going to benefit the nation, how much is going to defense, how many jobs are being cut through the federal government. They're supposed to reduce it by a certain percentage. Now, the Trudeau government, the previous government under Justin Trudeau, I should say, the previous government of Canada under Prime Minister Trudeau, because it was never the Trudeau government, it was the government of Canada. It was Harper who called it the Harper government, remember? He changed it was always the government of Canada. Under Justin Trudeau, they were supposed to cut 5,000 federal workers, and they ended up cutting 10,000, and they did it in a much quicker manner, which was a big surprise to a lot of people, myself included, when I read about it, because I was going over some notes today, and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot all about that, but that's true. So how many jobs are being cut? How's that going to affect the people in Ottawa? There are 140,000 people in Ottawa-Gatineau. I think roughly about 134,000, 135,000.
Something like that. I don't know.
You body checking me?
Nope.
About 135,000, I think.
Well, now I am.
There we go. 135,000 employees in Ottawa-Gatineau that work for the federal government, and this is what they're going to drop them. 125.
Yeah, it was at between 125 and 130, and here's where you were talking about the peak, and then where so many dropped under Trudeau.
That's
so
right.
many, and then this is what the future projection is, and then compared to the Canadian population, someone who's talking about having a federal public service that's about proportional to the size of the population.
I don't have an issue with that if we can continue to provide the services in a timely fashion for Canadians.
Mhm.
if they put it in proportion to the population, and we can't provide the supports we need,
Yeah.
that's
So
a concern. And that's
yeah,
the other thing I want to know in this budget.
and that's where
What's
some of
being
the
cut?
AI and the efficiencies and stuff like that is
Right.
probably going to come in, right?
I want to know what's being cut though, and I don't know what's being
Yeah.
cut.
The only thing that I've heard so far being cut was the 2 billion trees program,
Yes.
I guess. And I mean, I kind of get it. Like the commitments that have been made so far are going to, the contracts are going to be fulfilled. Nobody's going to be out of money or anything.
Right.
But
They just
again, the
hold them
time that it
afloat.
takes the program to do it, and considering the fact that when we started the tree program, we had wildfires, but not like we've had the last 5 years in a row. So it kind of seems a little weird wanting to plant trees if they're just going to burn.
Yeah. Well, they
Maybe
will
it's something
replant
else,
the
I
burnt
think.
forests, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just a little disappointed because I was hoping to actually get some details, and I was not getting them. Not from what he was telling us.
Yeah, I guess, and I mean, again, I expect that they will be, like I said, clarity and concision. I was just expecting something much more point form. Every
Yes.
block would have a similar structure like this. You would give us, like I said, a preamble, why this matters, and then tell us what the amounts were.
I don't need razzle dazzle. Give me a
Yeah.
boring old politician and tell me when it comes to budget, I don't want razzle dazzle. I want you to just tell me what is going to happen, how it will affect Canadians directly.
Yeah.
What services are you cutting services or are you increasing services? What are you doing for people who are marginalized? What are you doing for the disenfranchised? What are you doing to help people? And I'm not getting any of that.
Yeah, indeed. Looking at more of a budget document online here. Basically, a lot of the accusations that Pierre has been making about Carney, that he's like spending money in a irresponsible way. They have a graph on it that says that more than 75% of the government's actions this year were to respond to significant global economic shifts. 42% went to protecting our sovereignty, like investing in defense or tariff response. 36% went to bringing down costs for Canadians, such as middle class tax cuts, canceling the consumer carbon price, and investing in Build Canada homes. And 22% went to additional actions to support Canadians. I'm going to guess that that's maybe like stuff changes to EI and all that kind of stuff, and maybe some sector support here.
Well, to address this statement from PNC Bio, it says, this sounded like every other budget announcement. I don't understand all this mayhem. Since when did they ever deliver details in the speech? Well, first off, to address that, they have often delivered details in the speech. Yes, there always is a bit of salesmanship in it. They're always pitching. I get that. It's like a campaign to them. But I've always had more detail in the past, saying, we're going to spend this much, we're going to cut the taxes for this, and I wasn't getting really much of that, hardly any of that. But as we had said a few moments ago, we expected it to be like a Mark Carney speech, where he's going to get right down to business. And this is why we're disappointed,
Yeah.
And yes, you're right. We'll get the details, much better details later on the CBC when they do a recap of it. David Cochrane will do a recap. He'll discuss some of the bigger points and the finer points of it.
But there's no clip. There's very few clips for François-Philippe Champagne on this.
Very, very few, because it's just a sales pitch, the whole thing.
But the thing again is, because the sections are not clear and definite, so you can start a clip here and end a clip here, and you get a click soundbite. This thing is really important. We're seized with this. That's why we're going to spend $5 billion to do this, this, and that. Boom, you got a clip.
Yeah, we're not getting clippable stuff right here. Yeah,
no, I'm not getting the moments. Again, they're making me work in order to get it. Other stuff that they've got going on here, when they're talking about our strong fiscal position, when they're talking about comparing to our G7 near peer nations, debt to GDP ratio, Canada is at 13.3%. Our closest G7 rival nation is Germany at 48.7%, which might explain why we're the two with a AAA. And then everybody else, United Kingdom, United States, France, Italy, and Japan, are at 94.6% or higher in terms of net to GDP. We're at 13.3%. So when Pierre keeps on telling us we're going to hell in a handbasket, it's like the United States, Japan has 130% net to GDP ratio. And they're chugging along.
Yeah.
So we can take on a little bit here. In terms of, let's see, what else do we have here? I'm just looking at some stuff to see if there's anything that pops out here. Talking about, okay, that's global generational shifts. That he mentioned in there. That was pretty clear. There's a world uncertainty and index showing when Pierre Poilievre wants to say that this is all the fault of one man, and that man is a liberal. Maybe not so much. It might be the fault of one man, a lot of help, but not liberal. So this is basically the uncertainty index here. This was throughout the 2008 crash. You see a little here. Then we get through COVID, right? And the COVID, we locked everything down.
Oh, yes.
Right, because we didn't know what was going to happen. And the uncertainty index got to whatever.
People weren't locked down, though. Remember, people weren't locked down.
Yes, I know.
It's just, I don't want people to,
I know.
But they're going to clip it and go, see, you said there was a
not lockdown. We shut everything down.
We shut businesses down.
Yeah. And this is where we got there. Look where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
In the uncertainty index. COVID is not even anywhere near.
No.
Right. So, like when I'm making the point all the time about the conservatives, when they're talking about, oh, Mike Harper was such a great guy. He got us through this period here. Yeah. But he got us through that period there, creating a second recession and not managing the soft landing. And this was way worse than that and much more acute. And we did manage the soft landing and avoided a recession. Now, Mark Carney, he's dealing with this. And the conservatives are talking to you like they're still dealing with this time here.
Yeah, I know.
Mark, when I was housing minister during this time here.
5 minutes and you built, what, 12 homes? Is that what it was?
Or sorry, during this time here, around here, where things were like probably at the most certain since 2008. And he's expecting, see, he's still talking like it's this time when it's this time.
Yeah, well, what do you expect?
And
I mean, really,
you can't respect that. That's why I say it's like everything he says on its face is like, just listen to him because he's talking about a time that does not exist.
He lives in a fantasy
reality
world
that we're not living in at the moment.
He doesn't live in the real world anyway. I mean, come on. He lives in a mansion.
Yes.
All his meals are provided for him by an executive chef that lives in his house. Like,
And he keeps on talking about us. We're not tax competitive in any way, shape, or form. When driving business away, this data seems to indicate the case. Here, it's most tax competitive jurisdictions for new business investment in the G7, and there are scores here for that. For some reason, it's not very clear what these scores are supposed to mean from what I can see in these documents. But then again, we're looking the OECD average in these scores, excluding Canada, 17.7. And then Canada is at 15.6. And there's going to be a productivity super deduction, I guess they're calling it, and that will lower it to 13.2. So in terms of tax treatment, we are indeed highly competitive.
Oh, yes.
Opposed to what Pierre is saying. All levels of government deficit to GDP ratio. G7, we are second. Japan is at 1.3%. We're at 2.2%. And then everybody else is higher. Germany at 2.5, Italy 3.3. And then we start getting really high. The UK at 4.3, France at 5.4, and the United States at 7.4. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And this one here is a good graph that I find interesting. This is in terms of when they're talking about spending on capital investments. And this is how much have been spending on capital investments, historical and projected, back to 2014-15. So this is still just around the end of the Harper era. So when I was talking about, calorie-free, calorie not very rich stimulus spending that's spread out and sprinkled all over the place, for snowmobile trails and arenas and that type of stuff, rather than big infrastructure. This is where it was. And then the Trudeau government came in and started building more infrastructure, right? We had the pipeline and all that kind of stuff. But we've gotten to here. And we're going to take a big jump and then another massive jump and keep it up. So this is like over the 4 or 5 years, we're going to be spending in this year's in 2029, 30, 6 times more on capital infrastructure than Harper was spending.
Yeah.
So we had the needs then.
Yeah.
But Harper wanted to create the illusions of a balanced budget. So
By selling off
created
everything.
exactly. But so by selling off, but also by not spending money and pulling announced money back. So when they're looking at the Trudeau years, they're going, "Oh my God, you spent so much money." Yeah, because you starved the system, and we needed those things 10 years ago. And now, not only have we had the opportunity cost that we've lost, not only are things 10 years more expensive to build it now because instead of you building it then, but we've also created a gap in our competitiveness because we didn't build it over those last 10 years as well. So Harper left an illusion of a balanced budget by selling GM shares at the last minute so that he can have a number. But he sold those shares at a pretty substantive loss. And the deficit or the balanced budget that he left us was not structural because it was achieved through one-time sale of a public asset. It was not a structural balanced budget that he left us. And in all those areas for years and years and years that he starved of money, those voids needed to be filled in at some point.
Oh, yes.
And there's a reason operational spending has been growing at an unsustainable pace. There were other deficits that were created in the process of creating the illusion of a balanced budget. And the bill always comes due.
Oh, yes.
The bill always comes due eventually. Seeing if there's anything else in this document here. This is here for projected deficits, and the projected deficit, they have it separated, which the portion of the deficit that is related to the operational budget and related to the capital budget. And this is probably one of the most informative of the graphs that are here, and it presents things very simply visually. So here you look at 2025, 2026. It says $78 billion deficit, which is what's announced. And then there's this portion. They're not specifying which is which here, but that is day-to-day operating deficit. And this part is from capital investment. Now we see the boost in capital investment debt, and we see the reduction day-to-day operation deficit. So this is the spending less in blue, and you can see it, in order to invest more in the charcoal. So again, it seems like a counterintuitive statement if you're just listening to the words, but when you can see it represented like this, you get an idea very clearly of what it is that he means when he's talking about that. And then again, and that again, in that dark charcoal spending, that's where you got to look at the quality of that spending again. What type of projects, what type of return on investment, right?
We'll have a look at this. I think you'll find this fascinating. This is policies targeted at everyday people. Let me just bring this over here so I can read it a little bit better, and I'll blow it up so I can see it a little bit better. Policies targeted everyday people. Number 1, automatic federal benefits for lower income Canadians. Starting with the 2026 tax year, the government will begin automatically filing tax returns or pre-filling returns for up to 5.5 million low-income Canadians who typically don't file, so they don't miss out on credits like the Canada Workers Benefit, GST, HST credit, and the Canada Child Benefit. This reduces the access barrier for benefits and helps people who may not be active filers. I actually support that.
That's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea. Some people might not think so, but I think a great idea because it helps to engage people. I think it's just a good idea, and it's going to give, if you're not in the system, how can you access any of the things that are there for you? And a lot of those folks don't even know what's available to them.
Right.
Right? And now they're going to be able to fully access them without having to jump through hoops. Now, number 2, support for people with disabilities. This budget confirms a one-time supplemental payment for eligible recipients of the Canada Disability Benefit. Also, the Canada Disability Benefit, or CDB, will be exempt from being considered taxable income, meaning more of the benefit remains with the recipient. Okay, that's good, but I'd like to know some numbers on that. Tax credit for personal support workers, a new refundable tax credit worth about $1,100 aimed at personal support workers and other care workers, over 200,000 expected beneficiaries, to help boost incomes. This helps a segment of the workforce that tends to have modest incomes and is integral to health and elder care services. Number 4. Go ahead.
Sorry. The supplemental thing is a $150 one-time supplemental payment to help Canada Disability Benefit recipients cover the cost of their disability tax credit certification or recertification.
Okay. Seems like an eyedropper in the ocean, but
yeah.
I mean, really, that was announced quite some time ago, if memory serves.
Well, no, that was the supplement. This is because it seems that you need to go to a medical doctor or whatnot every now and then to get certification or recertification, and there's a fee for that. So there's a one-time $150 to help cover that fee.
Okay. Well, that's the numbers, and I did want to hear them. Number 4, affordability and cost of living focus. The finance minister emphasized that the budget is about making life easier for Canadians and reducing everyday costs while protecting the programs that families depend on. In addition, there are measures to reduce waste in government operations so more spending can go directly benefiting Canadians. And number 5, I'm going to have to go in a minute. I got a very anxious puppy dog here. Tax system reforms to benefit broadly. The budget proposes eliminating or modifying certain tax measures that are inefficient and costly for the system, such as ending the underused housing tax as of 2025. Simplifying tax compliance and reducing administrative burdens helps households indirectly by lowering costs and improving clarity. Underused housing tax? Are they talking about is that like the Airbnb tax?
Yeah, or a vacancy tax, maybe.
Yeah, okay. Now, here's the other thing. I've got some more points here. I'll read them to you quickly. It says why these matter. These policies increase the reach of benefits, so people who might otherwise miss out can access them. They target relief for vulnerable groups, low-income Canadians, persons with disabilities, care workers. They aim to ease day-to-day affordability pressures through benefit access, cost-reducing tax reforms. They help improve fairness in the tax benefit system, making sure the system works for more people, not just those who easily navigate it. Okay, those are all good things. But the limitations and the things to watch. While the policies help, they don't immediately eliminate high costs, housing, childcare, etc. These remain structural challenges. Okay, we do need to address the fact that housing and childcare are provincial matters, though.
Right.
And that seems to have been left off. The automatic benefits rollout begins in 2026. Benefits will accrue over time, not instantly. Some measures, example, tax credits, depend on filing tax returns or being eligible, so awareness and access still matter. Broader affordability, rent, food, transportation may require deeper structural reforms beyond what is in the budget. Just before I go, I have a mini rant that I want to share with you. A very mini rant, but it's another example of punching down. I was watching Question Period on Sunday. Is it Sunday morning? Is it Question Period? Yeah, I think it's Question. Anyway, they had a panel on. And Sachi Curl was on. Now, I don't particularly care for her, but one of the things she said that made my blood boil. Just a sec, Lola. Made my blood boil was this. She went on and she pulled the conservative living in their parents' basement. She says, what are we going to do? What about people that got CERB money that shouldn't? Those adults living in their parents' basement getting CERB checks. But, excuse me, why are you punching down on people who have to live with their parents because they can't afford fucking rent? And who's to say they were not entitled to and deserved that CERB money? Like, once again, punching down on those who cannot punch up. Like, really? I was literally, I had to turn the TV off because Bridget looked at me and I said, I'm going to turn it off. Otherwise, this is going to just ruin my day and ruin our morning. And I don't want to do that. But I was so incensed. Really? That's who you choose to pick on? You're no better than Trump. They have people in the United States of America saying, I don't give a shit if people don't get their SNAP, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. SNAP, or food stamps as they're commonly referred to, costs the average American taxpayer $36 a year. And many people are saying, I don't give a shit. Sachi Carl's doing the same thing on a different scale. And it makes me angry. Anyway, sir, I got to go because my puppy dog here is very eager to get out.
Okay.
But thanks for having me on. I mean, I guess I can come on anytime that I can.
Of course you can.
You know what I mean? I'm just tired. I'm tired. It's been a long day. I'm going to try and see what we can do because we do have an Instagram channel now. Instagram feed for those of you who might not be aware. And we will start to be able to stream on that as well in the very near future. I will get that set up so we can also have our stream go to Instagram as well. So
perfect.
Yeah. And I guess that's it for now. I'll see you later. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, friend. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to go in and show the rest of it. I'm not really. I haven't been particularly enthralled and enthused. And I do get your point, Kit PNC Bio. I really do. And I think my point is just similar to Mr. Grizzly's. I was just expecting that, given all the changes, that there might be something a little bit of a different format. But I do remember listening to previous speeches with Cynthia Freeland, where it was very clear. Okay, now we're talking about housing. Now we're talking about this. Now we're talking about that. Here's a problem. Here's our motherhood statement. Here's why we care. Here's what we're doing. And we would go from place to place. And this one wasn't that. But Kit Saucy, with a hypothesis here that maybe that was done on purpose in order to prevent the opposition, if I'm understanding here correctly, if I remember correctly, because I'm looking for it and hoping that I can find it so I can read it word for word. But and she can correct me if I'm wrong here. But given that conservatives like to take things that liberals do and sort of torque them by having it presented in this kind of way, maybe that makes that less possible for them. It's a good hypothesis. There's a little drama that kids have been pointing out in the chat, and it seems to have started a little before here because according to Politico, there was news of this. If I'm looking at the time thing, it says 2 hours ago when I see this. But it seems that I've been talking about members of the Conservative Party, particularly Ontario East, particularly even Quebec East, having problems with Pierre Poilievre and maybe thinking about leaving the party. Well, we've got one. According to Mickey Jurek and Xian Loom of Politico, a Conservative MP in Canada's Parliament is considering joining the country's Liberal Party, moving Prime Minister Mark Carney one step closer to securing majority government and reflecting a concerted push on the part of Liberals to ensure Carney and their legislative agenda are safe until 2029. Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont told Politico on Tuesday he is thinking about crossing the floor and will decide, quote, in the next few days after reviewing the federal budget. He pointed to his narrow margin of victory in the last election. He beat the Liberal candidate by 1.1% and said he is looking at what's best for his constituents. If D'Entremont crosses the aisle and 2 additional Conservative MPs join the Liberals, Carney's majority would be secured. D'Entremont said the Liberals have been courting other Conservatives who view themselves as centrists but who wouldn't disclose who. Quote, you'd have to ask them, he said. He also declined to say who was doing the courting and whether or not conversations included the Prime Minister's office. Now, if you tell me you have to ask them, but I'd have to tell you all, who are they? So I can go ask them. The Nova Scotia MP had a recent falling out with his party after its caucus refused to back him as Speaker for House of Commons, a position d'Entremont has sought more than once. He previously served as Deputy Speaker of the House. See, he's not conservative enough because he's a centrist, so he didn't get a goodie. He got punished. And now it seems that short-sighted move to punish someone, I believe he has served in the role before. Yeah, exactly. There you go. He previously served as Deputy Speaker of the House, to deny him that opportunity. Well, now, kind of has a way of popping back up and biting you on the arse, hey? An MP who decides that he might want to go sit for the government sometime in November around the budget when you have a leadership review coming around in January, so soon after you made some comments about the RCMP that didn't put you in good stead, and somewhere in between there you thought it was a good idea to have a campaign rally for youth and tell a sex joke that you stole from Reagan. Probably not going to help you. It's probably not the buzz you want circulating around your name around the time of a leadership review, you actually losing MPs. Politics. So much fun. His views are more in step with Carney, who is seen as leaning further right than previous Liberal leaders. He is also well liked within the Liberal Party and is not known to buy into the right-wing populist movement that Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre embraces. D'Entremont's stunning comment came before Carney unveiled his first federal budget, which pledged, quote, generational investments and is up for a critical confidence vote in the House of Commons that could make or break his government. Carney, a former central banker who campaigned on being a bulwark to President Donald Trump, was elected in April with a minority government just 3 seats shy of a majority mandate. In recent weeks, Poilievre, the right-wing populist leader, has faced criticism from within his caucus for calling the past leadership of the National Police Force, quote, despicable, accusing the former brass of covering up for then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's scandals. Poilievre later walked back the comments, but Conservative MPs who lean moderate were put off by his comments. It exposed a rare sign of disagreement within the party's typically united front and came as Poilievre works to persuade his party to keep him on as leader ahead of a leadership review in January. Trump's rise stateside killed Poilievre's favored odds of winning government earlier this year after voters chose Carney's economic credentials over the career Conservative politician. Carney's rightward shift of the Liberal camp has served a strategic purpose by consciously distancing the current iteration of the Liberal Party from progressive predecessor Trudeau. Carney hopes to court more Conservative support. Ooh, okay. So it seems that the drama is not with the budget details, darlings, but with the consequences. And it seems that there are more consequences already because according to CBC, Nova Scotia MP Chris d'Entremont is out of the Conservative caucus. Nova Scotia MP Chris d'Entremont is out of the Conservative caucus, a party spokesperson told CBC News. The longtime Conservative told Politico earlier Tuesday he was considering crossing the floor and would make a decision on his future in the next few days after reviewing the federal budget, which was tabled this afternoon. D'Entremont's departure means the minority Liberal government potentially needs fewer opposition votes to get this budget through the House of Commons. Let's see if there's more here. And another thing, this is a JP Tasker. No, still the same thing. Not any additional detail at the moment. I'm going to take another look here. Christopher Nardi and Stephanie Taylor. They have a little bit more, but let's see if there's anything substantive. 2 Conservative sources told National Post that d'Entremont left caucus after the story was published. One source confirmed he resigned in a letter to leader Pierre Poilievre. The sources were granted anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss internal party affairs publicly. The departure sets the stage for his potential crossing to the Liberals, who are 3 seats short of a majority. Let's see, maybe the letter to Pierre Poilievre posted to d'Entremont's Twitter feed. Let's see. Let's take a look at his just entering that in. we go. This is his Twitter feed, and let's see if there's a. These posts are protected, but no letter posted on it. All right, then let's see. Maybe it would be if he has a Facebook page. Chris D'Entremont MP, enter it. Not that I can tell here. See, we're getting some things saying that he's been expelled from the CPC caucus, and others things saying that he wrote a letter and resigned. So I'm not sure if he was pushed out or if he's been resigned. Or not been resigned, sorry. If he has been resigned or pushed out, or if he has resigned himself. So yeah, I'm looking here, and that's about the extent of the information at this particular time. The letter, from what we can tell, at least, does not seem to be public at this time. But that's one. And then I'm going to guess if that there's good response from business circles to this budget, that there's probably a strong possibility that there might be more. But yeah, that would, I did not expect that today. I would have to say, I know that there was a possibility. I mean, my question was whether or not they would move before the leadership review or after. I didn't think before or after the budget. So yeah, this is definitely a big bit of news, and it definitely takes away thunder from Pierre Poilievre, who wants to be criticizing the number, and now nobody's going to want to be talking to him about anything else other than Chris D'Entremont. So yeah, that is this is an unexpected gift, and his timing could not be any better to steal Poilievre's thunder here. It seems here that Melissa Lantsman has announced that the Conservative Party will not support the budget. I think we're all shocked and surprised. Seems to be some discussion that D'Entremont may be getting a cabinet position. Okay. I would not be surprised that the first person to take the plunge in terms of cabinet crossing, in terms of caucus crossings and floor crossings, would be up for a cabinet position. And given that he served as a deputy speaker, probably a good candidate in terms of qualifications. Let's see, what else do we have here? All right. So yeah, kids and cubs, let's take a little look at CBC overall and see if there's anything else written here that I can find for you before we move on for the day. Here, Catherine Tunney. Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal government delivered its first budget Tuesday, promising a new era of leadership and a new economic foundation. The 406-page document details billions imposed cuts and investments meant to spur growth and productivity amidst trade uncertainty and a slowing economy. Here are some of the highlights of the budget. The budget projects a deficit of $78 billion for 25-26, which is forecast to drop to $65 billion the next fiscal year and gradually fall to $57 billion in 2029-30. The budget pledges to balance operational spending in 3 years. Still, this year's deficit is far more than the $42 billion the last Liberal government promised it would be, and what the Conservatives said they would be willing to support. And by the Conservatives putting out a number at the beginning that they already knew beforehand was impossible to reach, the Conservatives were creating the illusion that there was a context in which they would support the budget when there never was. This budget also calls for some $141 billion in new spending over the next 5 years, which will be partially offset by billions in cuts and other savings. In the budget document that I'm looking at here, it says that the comprehensive expenditure review that was seeking to reduce inefficiency and focusing on core priorities has found $60 billion in savings over the next 5 years. So $13 billion annually by 2028 to 2029 is what it will result in, for a total with other savings and revenues of $60 billion over 5 years. The responsible choices we are making allow us to spend less to invest more in the workers, business, and nation-building infrastructure that will build Canada strong. Goes on to say the document, savings will be achieved by restructuring operations and consolidating internal services, right-sizing programs to realize efficiencies. It will also involve workforce adjustment and attrition to return to the size of the public service to a more sustainable level. Let's see what else here. It says the government understands that transitions can be difficult and is committed to minimizing hardship for federal employees while also protecting diversity in the public service workforce and ensuring a strong younger generation of public servants. This is a transformational time for the public service to revisit how we work, how we can improve services to Canadians, and how we can build for the future. A leaner public service is a more empowered and productive public service. And so there you go. And some action to close some tax loopholes to make sure everyone is paying their fair share will also be in there. All right, getting back to the article. Ottawa has been running a comprehensive expenditure review, as we mentioned, and so we talked about that. The budget promises more taxpayer dollars will go towards nation-building infrastructure, clean energy, innovation, productivity, and less on day-to-day operating spending. This, quote, new discipline will help protect social benefits the budget promises. The public service will see a drop in about 40,000 positions over the coming years. The budget projects it will have 330,000 employees in 2028-2029, down from the 368,000 counted last year. To confront an anemic economic picture, the government says it is supercharging growth and vows to make Canada's investment environment more competitive than the US. To that end, the budget brings forward a productivity superdeduction, we mentioned that a little earlier, tax measure that will allow companies to write off larger shares of capital investment more quickly. There are also new measures specifically for writing off expenses for manufacturing or processing buildings and a new capital cost allowance for liquefied natural gas equipment and related buildings. Since campaigning in the surprise Liberal leadership race earlier this year, Carney has promised to build projects with speed in Canada. His marquee policy, the Major Projects Office, is already up and running. The budget provides $214 million over 5 years and eyes approving critical mineral projects next, as well as getting construction on the high-speed railway from Toronto to Quebec City started in 4 years instead of the previously planned 8. The budget also includes $51 billion over 10 years for local infrastructure such as housing, roads, wastewater, and water, health facilities. The government said this will create thousands of jobs. Selling it as Ottawa taking back control over an immigration system that has put pressure on Canada's housing supply and healthcare system, Budget 2025 promises to lower admission targets. The new plan proposes to drastically reduce the targets for new temporary resident admissions from 673,650 in 2025 to 385,000 in 2026. The 2026-2028 immigration level plans would keep permanent resident admission targets at 380,000 per year, down from 395,000 in 2025. The government is also proposing to undertake a one-time measure to accelerate the transition of up to 33,000 work permit holders to permanent residency in 2026-2027. Quote, these workers have established strong roots in their communities and are paying taxes and are helping to build the strong economy Canada needs. To fill labor gaps, the Liberal plan includes a foreign credential recognition action fund to work with the provinces and territories to improve transparency, timelines, and consistency of foreign credential recognition. It would also launch what's a strategy to attract international talent, including a one-time initiative to recruit over 1,000 highly qualified international researchers to Canada. This part of that budget makes me very, 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 very happy. The budget pledges a consequential increase in defense spending. Carney had already pledged $9.3 billion after he promised to meet NATO's target of 2% of GDP spending by March 31st and 5% by 2035. Budget 2025 earmarks $81.8 billion for the defense over 5 years, roughly $72 billion of which is new money. It details more than $20 billion over 5 years to recruit and retain Canadian Armed Forces members and another $19 billion over the same time period to sustain Canadian Armed Forces capabilities and invest in defense infrastructure. The Communications Security Establishment, the government's foreign signal intelligence agency, is also getting billions to boost its digital infrastructure, including what's, quote, needed for modern warfare, such as cyber defense. One of the looming questions heading into the budget was whether Carney would scrap the oil and gas emissions cap. The budget said effective carbon markets, enhanced oil and gas methane regulations, and the deployment at scale of technologies such as carbon capture and storage would create the circumstances whereby the oil and gas emissions cap will no longer be required. The draft policy was released last year but never implemented. Budget 2025 proposes to provide $150 million for CBC Radio-Canada this year to strengthen its mandate to serve the public and to better reflect the needs of Canadians. Thank you. The government said it will also explore modernizing the public broadcaster's mandate to strengthen independence. And for fans of the Wild and Wacky Eurovision Song Contest, the government teased that it's working with CBC Radio-Canada to explore participation in the annual Music Showdown. Yay! I know, bread and circuses, but still. A good circus can be fun. If you're a landlord with a vacant unit or the owner of a luxury jet, you're in luck. The government is eliminating two high-end taxes. The first is the underused housing tax, a 1% tax on the ownership of vacant or underused housing in Canada that took effect in January 2022. It's also eliminating the luxury tax on aircraft priced over $100,000 and boats priced over $250,000. The budget said the moves are meant to simplify Canada's tax system and reduce compliance costs for taxpayers and administrative costs for the government. Okay, I'm not quite sure. Okay, if you say so. I don't know. So yeah, that's what we have here in the budget and the big outlines. Just taking a look to see if there was anything else in my notes, whether or not anything I can save for tomorrow. Nope, nothing left in my notes. The only other typical little thing I had was, of course, the positioning of the bloc. The Conservatives in the bloc, as I mentioned, the Conservatives, by saying that they weren't looking at a deficit more than they already knew the deficit would be, created that illusion. And the bloc, of course, putting out a list of 18 demands, 6 of which were non-negotiable, and the federal government had already told them no, that was not going to happen. So both of those parties have tried to set the NDP up by basically making a demand of the budget that they knew was not going to be met before they even made it. So we'll see what the NDP will have to do there, and when it comes time for a vote. But right now it looks like Chris d'Entremont is one more for the Liberals, which would bring them to, I guess, 170, if I'm not mistaken, and they would need 2 more. And quite possible, if one is already gone, quite possible that there can be another one that goes before the time for any actual votes come around. All right, kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver afternoon show. I'm looking here in the chat here, and somebody that remains nameless in these parts, but has been known for suddenly developing a British accent at one point. Apparently is not happy and losing their minds online. And okay, that's fine with me. All right, kids and cubs, that's the end of our show. Hope that you love listening to us, because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please, please, please tell your peeps and poops all about us, especially if you leave a little word of yourself stating why it is that you like our show. As well, kids and cubs, if you would like to make sure you do not miss an episode, you don't have to, thanks to the Ray Girl, who sponsors our pod page, podpage.com/the-true-north-eager-beaver, with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you go there and click on subscribe, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you. Kids and cubs, if you would like to help us, please go to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page. The QR code just appeared on our screen, and click on our buttons, like, share, and subscribe. Smash away. It helps us with the algorithm when you do. And when we see our numbers go up, it makes us happy, and we appreciate that. And if you would like to help us in other ways, the Emergency Hydration Fund here at the Beaver Lodge, or our tip jar, is where you can go to leave a couple of coins for us and show an enthusiastic expression of encouragement if you like our content and you would like to encourage us to do more. And of course, if you're on YouTube, we have Super Chat, of course, and memberships. And we thank you for everything that you do to support us. If you're looking to buy Canadian and make sure that your transaction remains Canadian, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com is the email address to which you can send a direct transfer, which avoids the USC Tech Bros and ensures we get 100% of your donation so that it goes further. And if you cannot send any financial support but would like to help us by letting us know what you think about the show or sending some guest suggestions, that same email address, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com, is where you can send those. And if you'd like to reach us on our socials, at TrueEager, at the Blue Sky Beaver Lodge on the Jitter, True North Eager Beaver on Facebook, our original home, or right here on the YouTube channel in the comment section below, leave us a little something. We read everything, even though we're not able to get back to everyone. And everything you send us as a contribution goes back into the show. So thank you very much for all that you do to support us. Because democracy is something that you do. You know what, kids and cubs? In Quebec, you did the municipal elections, you did Yukon elections the other night, lots of stuff. So just going to mention the petitions, House of Commons petition E6689 for better truth, improved truth from our MPs so that they don't spread disinformation, and House of Commons petition E-6821 to encourage that Canadian media be owned by Canadians and operated by Canadians to present news that is in the best interest of Canadians. Thank you so much for that, kids and cubs. Let's see. Words of wisdom. If you're tired, like I am, take a nap, which I will be going to do after this because I have a curling match at 9:20 and I'm not going to last until then. So naps are good, kids and cubs. And as Bill Kelly has been advising on his show, I think I will repeat his advice. Don't listen to a damn thing Pierre Poilievre has to say. He just had an MP leave his caucus. Okay? Yeah, what he has to say on the budget is probably not going to be worth your time. Kids and cubs, it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Apologies to the kids and cubs, because I know I asked when we were looking at the other speech whether or not you wanted to go straight through or cut in somewhere in the way, and we did cut in somewhere in the way rather than going straight through. Again, not the type of content presented in the type of way that we would have expected, given the importance of this exercise and how it can be a branding moment, particularly for this Prime Minister, given the way that this Prime Minister tends to speak and present information. So thank goodness for the journalists that do the pre-budget lockup thing and give us do all the analysis for us to give us the straight goods in a more condensed form, because it was 406 pages by 4:30 in the afternoon the same day as the budget, and therefore we don't have to wait to get an overall picture. I really do like the amounts for science and research here. I'm a big booster and fan of that. I don't think you can go wrong the more you put in that field. So I'm happy to see that we're taking advantage of the opportunity to generate more intellectual property up here, because that is a product that we can then sell on international markets, our own expertise. So yes, we should definitely become an energy superpower if we can, but let's become a brain power superpower as well. Research and patents and all that kind of stuff as well. That's the part of one of the parts of the budget that makes me the most happy. All right, I think that's everything I got for you today. So kids and cubs, at the count of 3, please say, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock. I'm sorry, I'm fading very fast, so I'm having trouble closing the show with any rhythm. 1, 2, 3. I hear you. I hear you. Here it is. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. Hi there, kids and cubs. Just seeing some messages in the chat there. You know what? Whether or not the text of it was what we expected or not, or what we had hoped for or not, let's put it that way rather than expected. Time with the DamFam is always quality time, right? Love spending time with you. So I'm glad. I'm glad we had this time together. Pull my ear. Just wanted to point because I said the thing that impressed me the most, but the thing that disappointed me the most, other than, of course, the fact that I wasn't getting information in clear and concise chunks, in a manner that was easy to digest. And it was something that Kit Bucky brought up. And I've brought it up on the show a lot. This seems to be a part that seems to be missing from the federal government's moves. And unfortunately, the budget didn't help with that. But Kid Bucky here saying, all right, I'm okay with the investment and cuts side, but I expected more emphasis on affordability as well. Indeed. Again, I'm seeing lots of great measures to lay the groundwork for big infrastructure projects. I'm seeing support going to industries. I'm seeing support going to retraining, but I'm still not seeing direct supports for Canadian citizens and workers who are losing their jobs, other than the EI stuff. I'm still not seeing it, and I really wish it was there. All right, that's all I got for you today. Like magic, I'm gone, and I will see you tomorrow, kids and cubs. And until then, amour et bisous. Bye.